Finally, the one night my favorite show's on and I take it off. It's back after being on this long hiatus. Brand new season, can't wait. Jesus Christ. Hello?
Hello, Batsy.
What do you want?
Well, just...
My favorite show's on now, leave me alone.
Oh.
I don't want to talk to you right now. Leave me alone.
Fine.
It's my night off.
Goodbye.
That's right. What the fuck? Hello?
Hello, Batman. I've got a...
No!
What?
Leave me alone.
I've got hostages.
God. Jesus Christ.
Riddle me this...
Fuck off, Riddler. Not tonight.
Huh?
Hey, Beastman, do you have problems with shit sticking to your fur?
No, not really.
Then come wipe my ass. That joke never gets old.
Skeletor.
Oh, He-Man, hey, how's it going?
What are you... Are you okay?
He-Man, that's a funny fucking name. He-Man is like the same thing twice. He-Man, He-Man, he... See, it's stupid. Why don't you just call yourself Guy?
After these messages, we'll be right back. From some time in the not-too-distant future, it's talking an electronic Robocop.
Hands up. Uphold the law. Drop it. You called for backup.
Recharge your action figure collection with talking and electronic Robocop in 3 action-packed sizes. He's unbeatable.
The call goes out.
The Joker's broken into the Gotham City Bank.
Bruce Wayne goes into action as Batman with his Bat-Cycle, like you've never seen him before.
Wow! You're finished, Joker.
Each sold separately from Batman, the Dark Knight Collection.
Take a look at the new G.I. Joe Tomahawk.
Look, Cobra's attacking the All-Striker. Tomahawk to the rescue!
Tomahawk holds 8 Joes and it's loaded for battle.
Yo, Joe!
Tomahawk's gonna chase some Cobra. Tomahawk is on the go. Tomahawk's gonna chase some Cobra and rescue G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe!
Live the adventure of G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe Tomahawk. Other Joe and Cobra figures sold separately.
Yo, Joe!
Hey there, sports dudes. In baseball tonight, Grand Slam and Wrath Slam to hit. Unfortunately, the ball didn't go anywhere because it was attached to a pole. In football, TD Toss and Leo's making sure the foot aren't having a ball. In basketball, Slam Dunk and Don's becoming a real basket case. And in wrestling, we find Shell Slam and Mike pinned by his python. More Sewer Sports All-Stars coming up, but now a word from our sponsor. For Playmates, dudes.
Now relive the magical adventures of the movie Willow with these amazing characters that bring the story to life. There's the heroic swordsman, Matt Mardigan.
Oh, and this war for you?
The evil sorceress, Beth Morda. The dreaded General Kane.
I'll crush the rebels!
And brave Willow himself. The epic battles, good versus evil. You can bring the magic of Willow home with collectible figures, vehicles, and accessories, each sold separately. Willow, the magic lies within.
Greetings and good evening, everybody. Welcome to Midnight's Edge After Dark. We're here just talking some shit. I've got with me one Cameron Pasha to start with. Hello. How are you doing tonight?
Good to see you, Tom. I just got your message. I didn't know this was going on, but I'm happy to jump on right now. It's great.
Perfect timing. I just started. Was entertaining the crowd with a few videos as they started to file in here, and I was hoping you'd pop in. I might have a few other people pop in as well, but
There
now
better
that I
be
got,
some pretty girls, man. I'm tired of this
I tried to
hot
go them
dog
in
fest
here.
thing going on.
I told them there's ice cream that generally works,
That's good. Okay.
and so I'm hoping that works. But yeah, how you been, man? Besides getting booted off of Twitter again.
It's actually a blessing. I think this is, I finagled my way back on last time. I don't think I'm going to try. I think I'm kind of done with that platform. I've got a two strikes philosophy for things in my life, and it's too much of a drain to deal with those guys.
Yeah. So for those who may not be up to speed, why don't you give everybody the quick rundown of, first of all, how you got in the position you were in the first place, and then now this one, as you said, the 2-strike thing.
Yeah. For those who don't know me, I'm a writer, producer, work a lot in Hollywood. I've been very graciously on Midnight Side has been very graciously invited me quite a few times. And so I was on Twitter for about 10 years. And I primarily created that account to promote my novels and some of my creative work. And, in the last couple of years, I was getting pretty vocal about sort of the industry and the woke direction the whole culture is going into, and specifically on the problems I had with Star Wars. And about in February, we have a lovely lady joining us right now.
We do.
Where's my ice cream, bitch?
Yeah, so now things are better. This is the right dynamic. I'm good with this. So.
Yeah, see, she just wrote that too. Where's my ice cream, bitch?
There you go. Well, Christy, I was just telling a story. As you may have heard, I got kicked off Twitter again, and
I know. And you know what's really sucks is my dumbass. I messed up myself. That's how I got kicked off.
What'd you do?
Okay, see what had happened is I went to it was my wrong birthday on my first account, and like a dumbass. You know what? It wasn't even a dumbass move, because I accidentally had my birthdays like the year's 2019, and it locked my account because it's like, you're younger than the TOS.
You can't be allowed to have this account, whatever.
Yeah, but at the same time, I kept messaging Twitter support, and I was like, a 1-year-old is not going to be able to type and do at Twitter support or anything like that.
Well, Twitter support is some moron sitting in a basement in Mongolia somewhere. I mean, it's nothing. So yeah.
And they wanted me to send a copy of my ID to them.
Yeah, send them your social security card too. Why don't you?
Yeah, I said fuck that. I just started another account.
Yeah, whatever. So yeah, no, for me, the first time I was kicked off in February, and I'm pretty sure, I still believe it was because I had made a series of very direct attacks on Lucasfilm after they had attacked me. Some people I feel were Lucasfilm shows were coming after me very personally, and so I made some comments about Lucasfilm, and then the plug was pulled. Like after 10 years, my account was just pulled, and the official reason given was I was creating spam. So I wasn't a real account, and then I actually appealed it, and then. They didn't respond to it. I filed like a thing with the Better Business Bureau, and then they started responding, and then they finally said, we reviewed your account and you're all fake and fraud, and we're never going to let you have it again. So I got really annoyed by that. And so, I figured out a way after about 3 months, I figured out a way to get back on. Created a new account. I won't describe all the sort of shenanigans I did so they wouldn't notice it. But I got on, and it actually, I got a lot of my followers back almost immediately. I was out there, I was having a good time, and I was on for literally 2 months, May 1st, I think, till July 1st. And then yesterday, I got into a stupid sort of Twitter pissing match with some lawyer, who's representing big tech, who was out there. Talking about how Facebook has every right to censor people, and he was giving this lawyerly, blah blah blah, lawyerly, like, they're not actually violating this thing or violating that thing. They're amending this. They were just using a lot of nonsensical. I'm a former lawyer. I'm trained in word manipulation, so I called him out on it. And then he attacked me personally, and then suddenly he had all these minions, like all these lawyers, like an army of random lawyers from Boca Raton, Florida, and all these other places started like attacking me, like hundreds of them. And so, there's like Lucasfilm fanatics, there's Birds of Prey fanatics, and there's crazy lawyers being paid by Facebook fanatics, right?
Yeah.
And so they just came after me and after.
Oh yeah, that was a mass, like,
I don't know if you saw it,
and stuff like
and it was crazy because they were like, because it's lawyers, so they were coming after me. They were like going in and trying to find like my law school grades and my legal background, and they're posting all kinds of stuff about my personal life. It was just wouldn't stop. And then some of them started going into my novels and saying, I found this paragraph on page 42 very disturbing. What kind of psychopath are you? I was like, it's a novel, right? And it's a bad guy doing a bad thing. That's what the novels are. And so I was literally, you're all out of your minds. And then suddenly around midnight, it was just shut down. I think it was basically, it's all, you go after somebody who's actually working on behalf of Facebook, you're done. And because I'm sure he's also working on behalf of Twitter. His lawyer was a lawyer for some tech group. And the only thing that I did was I asked him, hey man, who finances your tech group?
Or Google.
It's clearly big. And that's what set him off, because that's the question, right? He's obviously getting paid by Twitter. He's not part of a foundation. This is clearly, he's set up to be a propagandist for the big tech organizations. And just asking that question triggered him and led to this madness, and I'm out.
See, what's amazing is like I have my profile like a 2 or 3 time like Twitter felon. Like I say that as like getting locked out or like being timed out and stuff like that.
You got like 3 tiers, like
it's but for me, like I'm the queen of getting people like their accounts suspended.
Oh, you do that.
I literally got 7 people accounts suspended because I'm a problematic cunt. Apparently.
Or you'll report them and whatever, and
No, I don't know. I don't report them. It's just because I will write. I'm just gonna write how I feel. And I don't care. It's fucking Twitter. What are you gonna do? What am I getting? What do you do? Suspend my account? Okay,
Well, hail, Valiant Renegade. How you doing?
Hey, Valiant Renegade.
Well, good evening, friends. How are you guys? This is
good morning,
boys. Did you hear the way Christy said good morning? Right. See, she likes that voice. See,
no, Valiant Renegade's got the perfect voice for radio.
I'm just picking on you. Would you chill the hell out? G-Dog says,
be on WKRP in Cincinnati, man.
WKRP Cincinnati. If I had a real radio station, Valiant would be one of my first calls. And then
thank you.
I would, just to make Culture Casino happy, I'd let him be the overnight guy and talk about his hair all night. G-Dog says, not to like, this is a one to pull out of my ass. You guys talk about WKRP. Has anybody here seen FM, which was almost kind of like somewhat the inspiration for WKRP? It was a movie.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, it came out just before WKRP, and it's very similar. And there's a guy in there played by Martin Mull, who reminds me of Culture Casino. It's hilarious. G-Dog says, hi, Tom, Christy, hail, Cameron. And I'm sure he would have said Valiant, but you weren't here yet. You're good. You're too good for Twitter. Yeah. Honestly, I don't really do a whole lot of tweeting. If you follow me, I just kind of, outside of contacting people, I don't like to use it.
You know what I use with Twitter? Like, say what you want. If you're like, I'll just mute your ass or I'll mute the conversation. But like, unless you're really threatening somebody or you do something, I'm just like, oh, whoa, wait a minute, that's bad. But you know who the people I actually report when your ass corrects my fucking grammar, okay? I will report you. I did it.
You didn't put the comma properly.
Oh, I did it.
Christy don't do grammar Yahtzees, evidently.
Oh yeah, I did it to 3 people. I was like, "Hey, FYI, if you get locked out of your account or something like that, I'm just gonna let you know I've reported your ass. You shouldn't have corrected my grammar on. It's fucking
grammar Nazis are the worst, man.
I hate
those
that
are lawyers. Shit. Those lawyers will come at me like I wouldn't have put the apostrophe there. I'm like, this is why I'm not a lawyer anymore, man. This is why when I was at law school, I was like, you're all crazy. You're all out of your mind. When I was there,
and you want to know where I got that from? Because I did it to somebody and they reported me, and my fucking account got locked for 12
so it works.
hours.
Grammar Nazis will work. Okay. And I want to acknowledge our friend, my good friend here, Willie Woodward. You make the stream better. You wherever you are, Willie, you make things better, and I'm glad you're here watching us tonight. So it's all good. Willie's a brilliant young screenwriter, and I've actually had the pleasure of consulting with him, and he's hardworking, and most important, he takes advice, and he gets you a next draft, and it's actually improved, and he listens, and that's if you're like a screenwriting consultant guy, sometimes what I do, you have somebody like that who actually takes the time to listen to you, and then the work gets better is really fulfilling. And so Willie's a talented guy. He's got a good journey ahead of him.
Yeah, Willie's a good guy. Maybe I'll send you the link here in a little bit, Willie. We'll see what we can come up with here. We got Julio Scissors here, says real Art Bell hours right here. Love it. Yeah, I haven't done one of these in a while.
Who's Art Bell?
He used to do like coast to coast.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Seriously?
I'm kidding.
Okay.
I'm
well,
kidding.
all right.
Well, that guy George Newry is taking his place, but nobody can take Art Bell's place.
Yeah.
Man. That guy was a paranormal genius. He opened up the whole world to so many people.
Six is a grammar Yankee.
The look on Cameron's face when I said that was priceless. I mean, like I knew his face said, "Really, bitch?" Like, really.
No, Twitter is not Moss Isaac, Goddess of Wind. Thank you. Twitter is actually the Rancor pit. Yeah, that's what it is. And it is what it is. I actually was relieved. I'll be honest with you. When I got the notice that I'm out, right? I was relieved because the energy from those lawyers and those people, because they were really getting crazy. They were like looking into my past and like, because I was a lawyer. They have access to all kinds of databases, right? And so they're like, let me find this. I was like, this is really insane. This isn't normal harassment. This is like, let me see if I can find your 6th grade report card kind of stuff, right? And I was like, I don't need this vibe, man. And I got stuff I'm going on in my life. I got things pitching on right now. I was like, maybe I should be off Twitter. If this is the kind of nuts that are out there, let's say I announced that I've sold a show, God willing, in a few days or something like that. These are the kinds of clowns that will like send like letters to the network to try to shut me down. So maybe it's better if I just back off Twitter. So I think that's the right thing that happened.
Did they give you a specific reason of what it was this time?
Oh, well, they never give me a reason. They actually, the reason they gave was, oh, you're the guy that we banned 2 months ago. We found you, right? But who notified them, right? Somebody obviously advised them, hey, because I was around for 2 months getting the Twitter awards with dumb people. These lawyers that were clearly representing big tech, somebody said, hey, man, who is this guy? Oh, you already banned this guy? Get rid of him. When you're a lawyer working for big tech, you got access.
Goddess of Whim, thank you so much, says Twitter is Moss Isley. You'll never find a more
wretched hive of scum and villainy.
And it was to her that I responded that I think
yeah, you will. TikTok.
Oh my
God.
Oh my God. I think TikTok has to be parody. These things that this can't be real. People can't actually be doing it.
Christy, did you see that video where the girls are doing the TikTok and the guy's parking spot and he's like, get the fuck out of my parking spot? And then he's like, I'll help you. And then he finally gets out of his car and he takes their fucking camera and throws it in the back of his car.
No, I haven't.
I gotta find that one. Yeah, it was like, it made me think of you the moment I saw it. I'm like, yeah, Christy like this.
So
maybe it was on Facebook. That's why I didn't send it to you.
Was it a spot or was it just an empty spot?
Well, to where he normally parked, I guess, evidently. Like these girls are doing this TikTok thing for like the first minute or so. And then all of a sudden this guy like kind of like pulls up and he's like, hey, can you girls move? This is my spot. And they're like, no, we're trying to finish this. Just give us a minute, just a minute. He's like, I'm going to be late. I need to get my spot. So he's as patient as he can be with them for like a minute and a half or two almost. Because the whole video itself is almost like 3-4 minutes long. And then finally he just has enough of the shit. And he goes to throw it in the back seat and they jump in with it. And yeah, it was a mess. It was funny though. If somebody has the link to that, DM it to me on Twitter or something like that. I'll definitely show it. That's hilarious. But that's what just made me think of that because you brought up TikTok shit. Anyway, we had a couple more super chats. I'm gonna grab here. What was the next one? We got this one. Okay. And we got this one.
Got that one, yeah.
Probably Stephen Otten, huh?
Stephen Otten says, stop following me. You quit following me. Hey, we got Vidge in the chat too. I'll have to send you the link here in a minute if you're still up.
Vigilant Renegade?
Yeah, we're going to confuse everybody.
No, the only guy that still does it is comics, man.
The thing is, Willie and Vidge is like, Cameron doesn't want more sausage on the stream.
Yeah, that's true. I don't. That's true. I mean, there's all these stunningly lovely ladies in the fandom, and it's always like the same dudes.
He's not wrong. I can't help him there. I can't argue with him there. I mean, I do know some lovely ladies, but they have lives.
They have lives. It's like work weekend, whatever. Yeah.
Well, Christy's my internet ex-wife, so
okay, that's the story. Yeah.
No, it's not real. It's our little joke because everybody says we argue and bicker like an ex-couple. So we're like, yeah,
yeah. There have been times where I was like, oh my God. We sound like my fucking parents.
That's scary.
And the chat was just like, Keep going. Keep going.
Oh well, they feed off the drama. They love it.
They do.
Yeah.
6 is fine with it though. She's like, I love the dudes. Bring on the sausage party. Yeah.
Well, you teach their own, like, 'cause I'm a libertarian. Teach their own. Everyone be free.
Yeah. It is what it is. Let's see here. There was something I wanted to bring up.
Reviews for Black Widow are pretty good.
Although I did hear from somebody who saw it that I trust a little bit more than I do the reviewers, and yeah,
whatever. It's Scarlett Johansson.
Well, you just like it because but I've heard it's like it's all her like no longer being a sex symbol. So I don't know how much you're gonna like.
Well, she's in the cat suit. How can she not be a sex symbol?
Did you see the Time article?
No, I didn't see the Time article.
Yeah. Okay.
What is Star Wars Visions?
Okay, this is this new thing they just dropped.
Yeah, today I think.
We'll fucking get a copyright claim. Who cares?
Yeah.
I suppose I better put the volume on.
Let's go Lucasfilm, whatever. So okay, what's going on?
Okay, I gotta stop. I gotta redo this because I didn't share
I'll
share the audio.
So for Cameron, if you don't, okay, so this is one of the shows that was announced at the Disney Investor Day back on December 10th. Kennedy went out there.
They got like a or something?
It's
like a sizzle reel kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right.
I wouldn't call it a trailer per se.
All right, so it's gonna be animated.
Yeah,
it's
Star Wars
anime.
Visions is going to be
It's
an
anime.
exciting
Okay,
anime
well.
anthology series.
All right, but they're gonna
coming
screw
to
that up
Disney
because they don't
Plus in
understand
September.
anime.
Japanese animation inspired a lot of the people at Lucasfilm over the years. We loved the idea of seeing Star Wars expressed in that way.
Okay. Each one of these studios that we approached, we found hardcore Star Wars fans. They all had a story they wanted to tell.
初めてスター・ウォーズの企画って言ったらもうあれなんかこのような夢のようなことができるのかなっていうふうにはちょっと思いましたね。
いやもうついに来たなと。もう待ってました。その時の提案の内容がこれスター・ウォーズでこれやっていいのかっていうなんか面白いものだったんで。
Hey, we see
Is that a white
We
dude?
were looking for something from the heart and soul of the
No,
individual.
it wasn't Japanese dude. Okay.
No, they got a lot of
What was that?
legit Japanese anime artists to do this.
All right. Well, then that makes me trust it a little bit more if
Yeah.
they're giving these guys some deference, right? Because my niece loves manga, loves anime. And, that's the only real stuff that's succeeding anymore because they're honest. They know what their audience wants. I hope they'll let these guys know what their audience wants.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit more to it. Actually, this is a long thing.
We were looking for something from the heart and soul of the individual creators. They are their visions through the lens of Star Wars.
There are so many genres at play: big and bold, romantic and sweeping, funny, comedic.
で、この作品独自の、ところスタイルとしては、ロックオペラということで、
日本の山岳文化みたいなことをしっかり描けたらな。
暗黒の双子がどう生まれて、これがどうなるのかというのが基本的な設定ですね。
ナイトセーバーって子供の夢が詰まったガジェットだと思うんですよね。で、それをさらに今回僕はもうちょっと和のテイストみたいなものを。
We tried to have some retro vintage feeling. We couldn't skip the Astro Boy influence. People love Astro Boy.
どちらかといえば自分は最初象徴的な意味を、さっき言ったように、人間の姿をしてない主人公にしたかった。
スター・ウォーズみたいな時代劇を作りたい。パダワンが未知の敵みたいな遭遇するっていうお話ですね。本当に最後がスター・ウォーズあれば、本望だったなとは思います。
We feel so fortunate to be working with these filmmakers. There are so many opportunities to reflect Japanese storytelling in a Star Wars universe.
Star Wars Visions is completely different than everything else in Star Wars storytelling. Audiences will fall in love with it.
I have a question after this is over.
I do like that line you just delivered.
Yeah,
I intentionally stepped in it.
Yeah.
So
it won't be like any other Star Wars story Disney has done so far. People will actually fall in love with this.
So is this just like y'all know me? I don't give a shit about Star Wars, and no offense if you like if you love anime, like
it's fine.
There's a few anime shows that I've watched and I can continue to do so, but like, are they just doing like in the Star Wars universe, or are they just like picking and choose? I mean,
well, it looks Star Wars universe. It's like lightsabers and
well, I get that.
things.
I mean, I get that. You can draw anything. It's called if it's Disney related. Oh, look, there's a lightsaber there and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, you can do that. But are they choosing specific stories and kind of like curtailing them to like a Japanese style with their story or with their folk? I don't know.
It looks like they are. I kind of get what you're saying, Christy. It does kind of look like, yeah, this might have some promise off of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't look like it's being extremely overseen by Disney in any way, because it looks like they're letting them kind of just do their own thing over there.
Yeah,
and if that's the case, cool.
Yeah, and I think that it looks good. I mean, from what I don't know what the story is, but they mentioned this twins, one light side, dark side. Well, that's old school. Lucas stuff going. That's been around forever. But let's see. It looks like it might work.
All right. Well, we also have a couple more guests with us. We got Willie Woodward, and we also have Vigilante Williamson.
What's
up,
guys?
Hey, everybody.
How you doing, Tom? How you doing, everybody?
Hanging in there. We're just talking about this Star Wars Vision thing. I don't know if you guys saw this.
Yeah, I was watching it. I was watching it when you were playing it. It looks really cool. I'm just, honestly, I'm just so skeptical with all the just the bad Lucasfilm stuff. But I mean, it looks like it's like one of those things like with like when they put Batman in Samurai Times, it's like Gotham Knights, where they made like anime directors do Batman shorts. It's like it seemed like a perfect fit, and same like with this, it seems like it could be a perfect fit.
Yeah, my understanding of the way they've set this up, just for everybody's, kind of put it in perspective, is that, they showed you, I think it's 8 different animation studios that they brought in. My understanding is that each of these animation studios gets to tell their own story. Each one of these, it's disconnected. So if you have like 8 episodes, they're 8 short films. They're self-contained stories, is my understanding, and each studio is doing their own thing. So it's like you create
almost like Animatrix and stuff too.
Yeah, kind of create your own Star Wars story. Stick within the lore. I don't think it's not like they were assigned like, okay, you do a Mara Jade story and you do it. I think they all kind of wrote and composed their own thing. I'll put it this way: I'm much more intrigued after seeing this earlier today than I was when this was first announced back in December of last year, because it was kind of confusing. And I'm like, okay, we've got some legitimate anime Japanese artists doing this. This looks like it could be something pretty cool, could be good. It could be bad, but it's got more promise now, I think, than 7 months ago for me.
All right, and also joining us, we have Nina Infinity. How you doing?
Hey,
I'm
good. What's going on, guys? It's a party.
Lovely Persian princess. This is the kind of balance I was looking for. All right.
Another guy showed up. He came back, and then
hey Nina, sorry, I tried to log in and stuff on the thing, but sorry,
no worries.
It's user error.
So Nina, we were talking about the Star Wars Visions thing. Did you get a chance to see it at all?
Yeah, I saw the trailer. It looks good. It looks promising.
Well, you're actually more into anime than like me, especially. I can't speak for anybody else, but
I love anime.
Was watching anime all afternoon with my daughter.
What were you watching?
She already watched it all the way through. I was getting caught up on Jujutsu Kaisen. And then we just got volume 1 and 2 of Demon Slayer in on Blu-ray. But we've seen all those. And I'm waiting on my copy of Mugen Train. I had to find, you can't find a US copy. You can only $60, $70, $80 on eBay for the Japanese copies.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, some of those can get real pricey.
That's too expensive.
I started watching Demon Slayer. It's pretty good. But I haven't, I was like, I don't know if I can watch this whole thing because I need an ending because I'm obsessed with endings. So I'm going to wait until it's over and then I'll watch the rest.
Well, you got to get the manga.
Hey Nina, oh sorry. Hey Nina, have you seen? There was this anime. I think it was on Netflix where it was like this girl woke up and she was in this like weird like apocalyptic place where it's like you can only basically travel on skyscrapers like across with bridges, and you had people trying to kill you in weird masks.
No, I don't. I
Oh,
don't
dude,
think I've seen that.
that is it's a horrible anime. I'm just saying.
Okay.
If you see that one,
I just thought she
avoid
was
it.
so
It's just bad.
Speaking on horrible, I'm going to respond to a horrible comment in the chat. So,
Okay.
to Annabelle Morales Sanchez, who says, "Man, Cameron is thirsty." Let me be straight with you, man. I love women. I love beautiful women. I love the ladies on this live stream. I will never apologize for it. And whenever a guy says you're thirsty, it's because you don't have the ability to be honest about the beauty of the feminine. Every dude is drawn by it. Women love it. So I'm not going to apologize for it.
I'm thirstier than anybody, though. I talk
Speaking
about
of
hoes
thirst,
and shit all
Didn't
the
even
time.
know what that meant. So
Cameron,
I just
I'm
learned
never going to
something.
apologize for that because we're at a place in this ridiculous moment in history where we've got this self-righteous, sort of Puritan culture being wrapped around woke morality, and I'm uninterested in playing that game, and I will never apologize for my love of women ever.
Dude,
That's it.
like last night you were like had a Twitter beef with like a couple ladies, and it was just because the same thing, and I'm kind of like yeah, he posts all these pictures of beautiful women on his thing, so what?
I
It's like,
love the beautiful ladies that Kamran posts.
My
It's
female
amazing.
everyone loves beauty, and it's just jealousy and weird insecurities. And some person was attacking me, and I was like, but her whole profile picture was her face covered with everything, like her drink and whatever. I was like, well, you don't like yourself, and there's
a lot of it is.
So I mean, I
Might
like
be.
beauty, I like humanity. Never going to apologize for it. Not interested in this weirdo aspect of the culture which tries to shame men for finding women attractive. I'm never going to play that game.
Hey, Cameron, I just wanted to say thank you for coming over to the Bree side. You were on my culture crime fighter show. I saw that
remember
yesterday, and it's been an ongoing joke. The fact that we both admit that Brie Larson's kind of hot, despite everything.
Yeah, whatever.
And
I mean,
we
look, you don't
appreciate
have to like
that.
her politics and the stuff she says.
Yeah.
She's hot. To pretend otherwise is kind of stupid.
Yeah, it's dishonest. It's dishonest, and I appreciate your honesty. We appreciate honesty. So yeah, never apologize, Cameron. Never apologize.
Good. See, that's the thing. I have to say, I have a lot of respect for Quentin Tarantino. I actually, and Tom and I have argued about this. I have issues with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I don't like the way he treated, Bruce Lee, and his daughter's been out there just today saying she doesn't like the way he keeps using Bruce Lee. Separate issue. I respect Quentin Tarantino for the fact that he's unabashedly proud of his work, even if I don't like some of it, right? He will never back down, and he puts the attackers on the defensive. And that's why he's never going to be canceled, because he doesn't care about being canceled. He knows who he is. Same way I know who I am. And the people that came at me yesterday that got me booted off Twitter, never once did I apologize to them about who I am. And
I can respect her opinion when it that is her father and his legacy and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, if you had such an issue with it, I mean, were you not seeing anything beforehand with your dad? I mean, you can just say, hey, not approve it and stuff like that.
I mean, did she have approval? I think it was just something he
I don't
did.
think she would be able to, but like even if she did, I mean, there's been things in the past that I would say were questionable that she probably did approve. Like there was that the tea commercial and a few other ones from the past. I'm just like,
well, that's what I'm saying though. It's a tit for tat thing. Like you could be outraged and you can say it on the internet all you want about something, but then you do something else that or people like my normal person be like, what the fuck?
Well,
you're
and
bitching about this, but you did this, and it's
fair enough. It's a fair point.
And Quentin did expand on that a little bit more, Cameron.
Which Quentin statement are we talking about?
Well, he had said like, yeah, he understands why, he understands why Bruce's daughter's upset, and he can see why. But the reason he put that in the story was because that's straight out of another person's book, and from stories of how he used to treat the American stuntmen on Green Hornet like shit. And that is actually supposedly based on an actual story. But then he's like talks about in the book where he's able to go into a little bit more of the character, and you'll see in the story, I guess, that it's more of like we're seeing Bruce through Brad Pitt's character's eyes, and then later on we see it a little bit more through Margot Robbie's character's eyes, and so on and so forth, like that. So it's
Yeah,
a
I
little
mean,
bit
later
different. Bruce
he
Lee.
helps her,
right, right.
and he's quite positive in that scene, right? So yeah,
That's what Quentin was pointing out. Is he's like, I was just showing the different sides of this character, and you also have to step back. And this Quentin didn't say this, but I'm saying this.
Yeah,
is you almost have to step back and remember this is like. This movie is a lot like Inglourious Bastards, to where it's taking. Thanks, Kitty. It's taking place in a real world event time period, but it's not the real world event, and you have real characters that were people, but they're not the real versions of those characters. So they're, Quentin Tarantino's movie version of them.
Yeah,
so and I'm able to accept that
too.
It
didn't happen this way, right? And
exactly,
Darren
yeah,
King didn't survive, and so yeah.
So it's kind of a loosey-goosey kind of thing. I'm fine with, and I don't see it as so much of a insult on Bruce's character at all.
Yeah. Cameron made up a good point where you see like Sharon Tate actually surviving, and there was another movie, like a Sharon Tate type movie with that Hilary Duff was in, that came out about the same time, and I saw it not too long ago. And it's like she had like premonitions, like I don't know the whole with what happened.
Yeah, she had like a vision she was going to die. That's actually based on a story, an account that supposedly she told a friend that I have these nightmares that
I just
I'm
like
gonna die.
Stuff like that. It's no, but like when I was like yes. And when that flamethrower, when I saw that one scene with the flamethrower, I was like, "Oh my god!"
Is there any way you can take the heat down on that? Well, not really. It's a goddamn flamethrower. Well, you got to.
That was awesome.
Good movie. I really liked a lot of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That whole scene when Brad Pitt shows up at the Manson,
at the ranch,
the ranch, and it's really tense. It's really scary. It's really well done filmmaking.
Oh, it was my favorite movie of that year. And I mean, I'm a huge Bruce Lee fan, and I'm a huge Quentin fan. And, so to me, it was just like, all the stuff that was in it. I love that era.
It was a gorgeous movie. It was
it looks
so gorgeous.
Beautiful. And you could tell it was shot on film.
Yeah.
And Roger H sends in a super sticker. Thank you so much. It wouldn't be a stream without a Roger H
He's
super
the friendliest avatar ever.
Of course he does.
I know, right?
But yeah, so like, I'm glad. I didn't expect all these people to show up, but hey, it's fun. Cameron, though, I'm really glad to have you here. So, like, tell us now, though. You said you're not really that worried about getting back on Twitter, right?
I don't actually plan to come back.
Right.
I think I'm at a stage in my career. I mean, without giving too much away, because I'm prepping some stuff. I've got a few pitches out and going out with the networks and studios right now. God willing, I hope to be able to say this summer that I've got a show sold and ready to tell you guys about. But after what happened yesterday on Twitter with the crazy sort of fanatics that came after me and like really digging into my life and my past over nothing, I don't think Twitter is a good place for me professionally. I just don't, because let's say I announce something. I hope you will announce something big in the near future. Those clowns are all going to will try to derail my career. I've seen that. Right now, a lot of stuff that I'm doing is behind the scenes. But if something major comes out that hits the trades, if I'm still on Twitter when that happens, they're going to come after me. And I saw that yesterday. So I'd rather be able to make my shows and my movies, and they'll still come after you. But when you're not on the platform, there's less an incentive, because it's all about jostling you personally because they have access to you, right? And they try to humiliate you personally in some fashion. If they don't have it, nobody really cares that you're posting, oh, well, Cameron did this and he tweeted that. If he's not on the platform, I mean, nobody really cares about that. So it's probably better for my career for me to be off that platform.
Well, do you think it's something that they moved up from not publicists, but marketing people who go out there with these puppet accounts? Because let's be real, that's what a lot of it is. It's people inside Lucasfilm and Disney, and it's these marketing firms and all these other people. Well, that was what
it was the first time.
And that's what I'm saying. Now you actually said it's fucking lawyers. So like
lawyers who are like going into databases, trying to find like old records of my law school grades and things like that. And
wild.
Crazy stuff. It's like
they're digging up dirt almost.
And they're trying to embarrass them. Like, yeah. I mean, like
borderline harassment.
They literally one lawyer found in some database that, that I stopped, that I let my license go in 2005. He's like, well, obviously you're not going to be a lawyer. I was like, no, I let my license go because I had practiced in 4 years and I'm paying like thousands of dollars a year for a license I'm not using when I'm trying, when I've got like an Emmy award winning show I'm working on. So I said, I'm going to stop paying this fee, and the license is then canceled, right? I'm proud of letting it go. And he's like, look at you got expelled from the bar. I was like, no, I let the bar go because I wasn't a lawyer for the last 4 years. And I want
Can
to
you go get it back anytime?
I mean, there's a process, but I don't want to. Like I said, I've been a lawyer.
No.
20 years.
I'm just asking. Like,
There is some kind of process, right? I'd have to probably make up all kinds of CLE, which are these legal continuing education classes, and pay some back fees. But I never want to do that again. I hated the profession. I mean, law school was interesting, but the profession wasn't for me. And so it's something that it's just.
What kind of law were you into?
Well, I was a litigator, and that's probably the most interesting part of law. And even that didn't work for me. It's just because the legal community I despised. It was these people, like these anal retentive, self-righteous, mediocre people who are repressed and not creative and constantly judging each other and like finding something wrong, literally with, you didn't get the comma in the right place. Their entire personality is that stuff. And I was repelled by it. That's why I started writing screenplays to get away, like find a creative outlet to get away from these people. And then these people came after me, and and they're crazy. They're really crazy. They're crazier than like Lucasfilm people. I mean, because they have the self-righteousness as well. I'm John Jones Esquire. They have that weirdness that they're somebody special, right? The lawyers, they think it's just a pathology.
Well,
and I was like, these guys, I'm in their target, and they're going to keep digging up stuff from my life because they got the resources to do that. And I don't need this kind of garbage in my life.
Well, that was kind of what I was going to get to, is at least my question anyway was leading to, I should say. And I don't know if Valiant has anything to add to this or anything like that, since, he's a little bit closer to this kind of a thing too, as far as business-wise maybe, and dealing with lawyers and whatnot. And I don't know if Willie or anybody else has anything to add to it either, if they've dealt with lawyers or have any experience. But like, to me, it feels like, okay, if now it's lawyers instead of marketing teams, feels like they are looking for something, and they've got these guys on the job, on the clock, doing whatever they can to not just sabotage you, but since they're only sabotaging you because they couldn't find anything to come after you with.
Well, that's the whole thing. The worst thing is like, this guy left his law license. Yeah, I did. Yeah. And somebody's like, I went into your, literally like, this all happened. Someone's like, here's a page from your novel, and I don't like this scene. I find this scene sexually inappropriate. I was like, it's a bad guy doing bad things, and he gets killed, right? But it's literally like, you went to the trouble to go through my novel, somehow download it, I mean, that's crazy in a period of just a few hours. To like go through my novel to find something. I was like, first of all, I'm never going to apologize for my creative work. I'm not going to apologize for my career. I'm not going to apologize for any of it. I love my journey, right? But the fact that they thought they could do that, that's scary and crazy.
Well, it's a scary world out there right now. A lot of I don't know. This is nothing to me because of some of the stuff I've been hearing. Like, this is just absolutely. I mean, it's crazy, but a lot of crazy people.
I think people forget how easy it is to find information on the internet.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a profession that has to be licensed, like a hairstylist, a lawyer,
or if you have access to specific special databases.
Exactly. And
the reason I asked this,
when I was a lawyer, I could find out the addresses of celebrities.
Right.
I could find out where Brad Pitt lived one click easily.
And I mean, I believe you, Cameron. And I mean, at least I believe you that you're telling your point of view of the story. And the reason I bring this up and I bring the whole lawyer thing into it is because, back when we would be reporting our stuff on Discovery and everything, and even probably still if I checked out like Reddit and a few other places on net, they'd bitch, why doesn't Paramount and CBS just sue them and blah, 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 this, that, and the other. And it's like, they probably would, but for two reasons. One, it would just bring us attention that they don't want us to have. And two, they probably have nothing that they can sue us for because we're probably right. So they can't prove we're wrong.
Yeah, well, the defamation and libel, those.
And I think that's where you're at. And
I was like, so what? So yeah. Okay,
and I think that's what I was going to get to is like, yeah.
Well, actually, Cameron, I'm sorry for interrupting, Tom. If I may, I
just want to say welcome to Mike first, real quick, though.
Hey, what's up, Mexican Iron Man?
Hey, Mexican Iron Man, Mike.
Nice to probably meet you.
Mexican Iron Man. Hi, everybody.
You bring the tequilas?
Yes, and I also brought virtual tacos. Hello, brother Cameron. Virtual tacos, and there is free for 4th of July. We have unlimited refills on the sour cream and the guacamole.
Woo!
So
happy 4th of July, by the way, everybody.
Yes, and anyway, Will, you were saying sorry.
No, I don't think that they were hunting, you know, like going through your book and going through your stuff per se to try and do that because they're crazy. I think what they were trying to do was just go through everything that they could to find something on you. But since they couldn't find something on you, they picked through this thing. Because I
mean, it was crappy stuff. It's like, I mean, the thing is, I've actually led a pretty boring life. Right. And so that's why I'm so honest and open on Twitter, because I don't got a lot of skeletons. I put my skeletons out there. They're not that interesting. And so they're like, that's why they try to shame me with stupid stuff. I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah.
Exactly. But what I'm kind of, I do agree with Tom. I think that actually it's like that you probably are pushing some buttons if they're starting to sick the lawyers on you.
Yeah. And that's what I said. I got to get off this platform.
Exactly. But
you think
what I'm wondering
on a
is
different platform.
Well, I'm just going to be off platform. I mean, I'm on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm on Facebook and I'm on Instagram and I guess I'm on YouTube, but I'm not using those for any more of this kind of commentary. I'm happy to do this commentary on live streams like this, but I'm not going to use those platforms anymore, because any platform where someone can post that kind of comment and do that kind of weirdness, not interested anymore.
Yeah. Right. But what I'm wondering is, why are they kind of targeting you specifically?
Well, I think I just answered that at least, and that is that he's speaking the truth, and they don't want that out there.
Well, and I look, like I said, I'm no huge famous guy, but I am in the industry, and that brings, this lawyer that attacked me, that started it all. I was, there's a guy, Alex Berenson, who's pretty, well-known former New York Times journalist who's been questioning a lot of the official narrative of the past year, and so he was the one, that was getting into a little bit of a Twitter spat with this lawyer who was saying Facebook has every right under the law to label people as extremists or whatever. And so, I just asked, he asked that guy, well, who funds your think tank or whatever they're representing? And he just ignored him. Man. So I said, I was like, why is this guy ignoring me? So I wrote in that guy's thing, hey, so why don't you answer the question? Who funds you? And then he came after me. And I was like, why is he coming after me? There's like 40 people in that thread say, hey, man, just answer the question. Who funds your people? He came after me. And I was like, why of all these random people did he come after me? And then suddenly hundreds of guys are coming after me, because I'm actually like, oh, this guy's somebody in the industry. And like, oh, this guy's a problem. We can't have this guy talking, right? And asking these stupid questions. And suddenly it became this pile on.
Well, not only that, it's not easy to ignore you because you're not a white guy. So that's one thing.
Well, there's there's also, and this is just my opinion, nobody has to agree with it, and I've experienced this, where it's also like, oh, the one brown guy in the chat, oh, he's the easy target, right? We'll just take him. And that's the sort of hidden racism of the woke, right? Which is, I've experienced that on Writer's Room, where, there's like 5 people in the room that the showrunner doesn't like, but I become the one the showrunner picks on, right?
Yeah. And as you've always reiterated, they never really want to hear your real, your real feelings, your real advice, your real, beliefs on anything. They just want you to be there as token diversity.
Yeah, exactly. And so when, I guess the reason I must have triggered it was exactly that. I shouldn't be the guy. I should be the brown woke guy, who's coming out in defense of Facebook, protecting.
You're going against their narrative, exactly.
Right? So
how dare you,
Okay, so Cameron, so I posted. I didn't even know you were suspended till this second. I've been off Twitter all day since last night. But I posted that one article. I tagged you and Doomcock, and we've been under siege now for like 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
That article that they just keep hammering on.
Which article? Because I've been hammered on so many things. Which article?
God damn it! The one from the about Disney, about the one that followed the is it the Atlantic? The Atlantic
piece.
Yeah. I posted the Atlantic, and then I posted the Source piece, and I tagged you and Doomcock, and man, it's just been like hammer. I'm just like, it's only like 0.5% of what you deal with, but I just can't even imagine the crap you dealt with. I'm just like, holy shit.
Well, I mean,
even today you didn't see it, but even today, like, they were talking shit about all 3 of us because we're on this thread. You, me, and Doomcock, we're on this fucking thread.
Well, I mean, it's because obviously this is getting under their skins, which is what I said to some of my attackers. I was like, why do you guys bother me?
That right there,
so much.
That right there is more proof than anything that everything you've been saying is right. Because if it's not true, if it's not correct, and there's no basis, then no one touches you.
It's like you hit a nerve, and then it brings out this explosion. And what it suggests to me is one of the last things I tweeted before I was pulled was that this suggests to me people that are losing. If you're reacting with this extreme behavior, you're completely insecure. These lawyers are afraid their clients gonna pull the funding for the think tank because they're not winning. Culturally, the whole thing is collapsing. And when you feel that kind of siege,
They're a bunch of cowards.
True, they are. Yeah.
No, we also had. Oh, go ahead, Cameron. Sorry.
No, I'm done. Go ahead, please.
Well, I'm gonna. Well. The good thing is that I might miss you on Twitter, but I feel like I'm still connected to you because I'm now halfway through the book. Holy crap, bro! This book is unbelievable.
Which one are you reading? You reading Shadow of the Swords or Mother of the Believers?
I'm reading Swords right now. How you've treated Lionheart as a character? Holy shit, dude! It is fantastic.
For our
Oh
viewers,
my. Yeah. Oh my god.
Before I got pulled, Mike. Before I got pulled last night, I was gonna CC you on one comment. The guy was like taking. If you remember the opening scene of the introduction, right?
Yeah.
There's a scene with a young Miriam, that character.
Yes.
Is attacked by the Crusader Knight, and
yes, and it's and God, there's this one line that you had, brother. There's that one line which you had where she said something like she was afraid that the center of what happened to her would be, when she's hiding.
Yeah.
When she's hiding at that scene where it's right in the beginning where she's hiding and she doesn't want to get I don't want to give anything away, but
yeah.
It's so I didn't want to interrupt you. It's very vivid. What were you gonna say?
No, I'm saying that was a scene that whoever this crazy lawyer minion was that pulled that page out and said because the scene describes how this Crusader is trying to rape this 12-year-old Jewish girl who's escaping, right? And he said, this is an example of you being a pedophile. I was like, this is an example of a novel of a 12-year-old girl escaping a rapist and scarring him for life.
Oh, shut up.
And he literally pulled the page.
Oh shit! I wish I had seen that before. I wish I had seen that, bro. Because
I was going to see on that before I got pulled. I was like, "Look, man, you're reading it. That's not what this chapter is."
No, in fact, that scene is so critical.
It says more about them than it does you, man.
That scene is so critical to what happens, in multiple chapters later.
Later in the book, 20 years later.
There's multiple. Exactly. There's multiple layers to that, and the biggest thing it talks. I mean, I think the biggest thing I took from that scene going forward, because when it happens, it's like I'm reading it, I'm like, holy shit! Like you just threw some hot water on, we're going. You can't just read the intro and put it down. We're going. We're going because you got to see where it goes. But that scene is a testament to the character that she. And I'm not done yet. I'm only halfway through. Okay, because
it gets into
some of the. And I'll be honest with you, some of the chapters I reread twice because your world development and your description of some of the scenes and the area and the politics. I kind of had to read that twice, and it's just because it's so good. You want to go back and capture the richness. But anyway, that scene right there is so elementally critical to who she becomes later and why she's able to be such a critical story. I mean, if anything, these SJW people said that they want, strong women or whatever the fuck. Bro, that book is it right now. At least, I mean, I don't know how it ends yet because I'm only halfway through. And I've deliberately I deliberately avoided any reviews. I deliberately avoided any of I don't even know how it ends. I don't want to know how it ends because I'm working my way through it. But man, if they want to talk strong female character, holy shit, a la Ripley, I don't even know who.
Well, I mean, and to bring it broadly to what we all talk about, that's what I've been trying to do in my stories. Like this Crusades novel, the major character is a Jewish woman who serves as a spy, right? And the horrific events of the introduction of her abuse as a 12-year-old make her into the woman that might be a spy in a war in the Middle Ages, right? And because it's complex character, it's the damage of a war that creates somebody, right? It's not Rey, the perfect character with no past and no obstacles. This is a damaged person who risks her life because of what she's gone through. That's storytelling, and that's a storytelling that I was raised with Ripley and with all the great characters that we love. So
I want to grab these super chats real quick before
please,
I lose them. Culture Casino, who will probably show up here soon, says, "Oh heck yeah, mead when I can't sleep. Awesome, yeah. I sent you the thing there. Culture,
hey, Culture.
Jose Luis Castellanos, if I could say that.
Castellanos.
Happy Independence Day. Well, happy Independence Day to you as well. And it is officially in most places now. Independence.
I still got 40 minutes.
I say you might have 40 minutes still on the West Coast there, but other than that, I think it's almost.
Hey, Prince King, Eric K.
And Eric K is here. How you doing, buddy? Welcome, and thank you for being a member. That is awesome. I got to do a member stream. That reminds me. And yeah, Jose's laughing at me. But yeah, speaking the truth and saying things that Disney don't like.
Here? What's this?
As we have here, this is the final confirmation that it had never been confirmed, as people didn't realize. It only was coming through, rumors and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Harrison's hurt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, I heard.
thought we
I
knew
heard
that
he had
already.
surgery
We
on
knew
there.
it, but it was never confirmed, as far as I know.
Yeah, I just pulled that up on Instagram when you put it up a few minutes ago.
Yeah, and this actually posted like the other day, and a lot of people are like, "We knew that." I know we knew, but that was because we were just taking the news that we were hearing for verbatim. Because I don't think Disney ever made an official announcement about it or said anything about it.
Well, that was just it. It was the lack of them answering all the news that was popping up in all these different magazines and trades and websites, and they just kind of just said nothing to the point to where you started to have to assume that something did happen. So,
Well, at
here
least
you
they
go.
didn't try to kill him with a trap door again. Do you think they did that in The Force Awakens? Apparently, a trap door almost killed him.
Yeah, and like what J.J. Abrams allegedly came into the rescue. That's the story, right? Yeah, trying to pull that off with his hands, whatever. Yeah.
Better ways to just use a set with humans like every other movie, but whatever. It had to be special. Do you think there's a chance this movie doesn't happen?
Yeah, there's a good chance it doesn't happen. Sure. I mean, on a practical level, can Harrison do it? Just on a practical level, I wish him a long, healthy life. He's one of our legacy actors of the last century.
Yes, he is.
Can he do it? I don't know. I will remain of the controversial opinion that Ms. Kennedy will move on out in a few months, but I do believe she's going to continue shepherding this project. But if Mr. Ford ain't up for it, then I don't know that there's any. Once she's lost the official title of Lucasfilm head or whatever happens, I don't think if he can't really pull it through, I don't know that Disney's I don't know if she has the mojo to push it all the way through somehow.
Isn't he under contract though?
Yeah, but if he's injured, he's too elderly.
But they would just have to wait until he's better and then have to continue, basically.
He looks frail.
Well, the funny thing is, though, is James Mangold reacted to one of Tom Conkle, our buddy's posts on Twitter, where he said, "Oh, we're filming. I'd like to know what the hell they're filming."
Right.
Without Harrison Ford.
It's how long is that filming going to last?
Exactly.
And that's what,
the fact that he's answering somebody on Twitter tells me he's not busy.
Yeah.
Are you on Instagram, Cameron? Where are you now?
No, I'm just scanning through something. I got a message.
No, I meant are you going to use Instagram now or? No, I didn't mean to second.
I'm like looking all over the place because somebody just sent me a DM and I had to look at it. But yeah, where I am generally, I'm on Facebook, which I'm not going to post much on anymore. I was saying to the guys, I'm on Instagram, and again, all I'm going to post on Instagram are just like personal trips and journeys and adventures, culture. And
now we're the Brady Bunch.
I'm done with the way I've been for the last couple of years, which is very open. After the lawyers came after me and started digging up my personal life, trying to find stuff, that's not good for my life.
Yeah, that seems
that's
weird.
not good for my
I'm gonna
career.
miss those hot
That's
chicks,
not good
though.
for your health, man. Just stay
my
away
mental
from
health.
Twitter.
I'm done with social media of that kind. I would love and continue to do this kind of interaction with people, but I'm done with it. I hopefully have more in life to do than writing on Twitter, right? I've still got another 20 plus years of a career ahead of me. And now when I see people like that going to that level, that's dangerous for all the work that I've got prepared. And so I got to stop.
Yeah, that's true. We got to protect the scripts that you're working on and all that stuff. Hey, this is a dumb question. Sorry to change the subject, but I got to ask you real quick because I'm in the middle of your book. How did Kingdom of Heaven get made when that script is like, I love that movie because I love the period and I've always been fascinated by that period, but it's such a thin intellectual, there's no depth to it versus your book, which is just wow. And I'm just wondering, were you when did you write it about the same time after?
So let me instead of just making it purely a narcissistic story about myself, let me put it in context of the industry, which hopefully will be helpful to all of us, right?
Okay.
So I wrote the original screenplay version of the Crusade script, Shadow of the Swords. I wrote it shortly after September 11, 2001, after the horrible events that happened, right? And I wanted to tell a story about where it's not Muslims that are the enemy, it's not Christians, it's fanaticism, right? And I wanted to tell that story from the point of view of the Crusades. And so I wrote the script. I handed it into my agents in 2002, and my agents at the time said, there's no market for this. A huge epic on the Crusades by unknown writer that just showed up in LA 6 months ago. Nobody's interested in doing the movie on the Crusades. They said that to me in the morning. That afternoon, Ridley Scott announced that he was doing Kingdom of Heaven with William Monahan, right?
What?
That afternoon. Wow. So some of my agents call me like 10 o'clock in the morning. I had the script over the weekend. So Monday morning, they call me. We read it. It's a great script, but, there's no market for it. They said, I was like, all right, whatever. 10 o'clock in the morning. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I get a call saying, we're going out with it. Wide. Literally, they changed. I mean, this is the industry, right? 2 o'clock that afternoon, somebody sends me an email. Hey, man, do you see Variety just announced?
That's crazy.
And all he had just found William Monahan. They didn't have a script, and he had liked something else William Monahan had written, said, we're going to do this movie on the Crusades. And just announcing that he had an idea for it, suddenly my agents were like, wait a minute, there is a market for the Crusades. And so because Ridley had just announced the idea, the town was suddenly abuzz with the idea, and I have a finished script that was really good, in my opinion. And then we put it out there, and for a brief moment, there was a bidding war on it. I was an unknown screenwriter, literally just arrived a few months ago into LA. Suddenly, because the idea was in the zeitgeist of Hollywood that day, and suddenly that afternoon, everyone is getting a call saying, oh, Ridley's working on this? Guess what? We have a finished script that's good to go, and you can compete with Ridley and get it out before he does. So that's how the town works. Everyone exploded. Suddenly, Imagine, which is, Ron Howard's company, read the script. So literally, my script went out that afternoon. My agent's call said there's a line around the agency's block, all the major producers, because it was just the timing. All the major producers want to see this. So all these messengers are showing up to get it. So the next morning I get the call. Okay, Imagine read it overnight. They love it. Gail Ann Hurd, who had just made the Spider-Man movies. The Spider-Man 1 had just come out, right? She's like, Gail Ann Hurd wants to do this. Laura Ziskin, who had done the Spider-Man movies. Gail Ann Hurd, who did the Terminator movies. So all of these people jumped on the script, and every single one of them, 48 hours later, had brought it into the studios. Imagine was coming and saying, we want this for Ryan Howard to direct. Laura Ziskin was coming in. I just made you Sony. She went to Sony. I just made you $1 billion off Spider-Man 3 weeks ago. I want to make this next. I was like, I'm about to become a multimillionaire, right?
Easy.
And I was like, this is the biggest. And my agents were like, who are you, this magician? Like this whole thing of being the augur. Because I knew that a Crusades story was coming, and I happened to be first. And so suddenly everyone was like, who is this prophetic guy that had this? And it's a good script. And then I learned the first lesson of Hollywood. Nobody passed on it. So I'm waiting for agents. So where's my $2 million offer? Where's it coming? Right? Where's it coming? You got 5 different producers, each into one of the studios. Where's my $3 million? And they're like, none of the studios are passing. None of the studios are making a bid. I was like, what do you mean? Each studio said this script is too controversial. You've got Saladin. I remember Kingdom of Heaven hasn't come out yet, so they didn't even know who Saladin was, who's a major part of Kingdom of Heaven, right? And most people love that character in Kingdom of Heaven. So
I love that character.
It's a great character. And so they're like, who's this Saladin guy? He's the hero of the story.
Well, I love your Saladin even better than I like that one, but okay, but go ahead.
Yeah, but that's the thing. And so, and because my story essentially takes place where Kingdom of Heaven ends, which is what happens after Saladin takes Jerusalem and then Richard the Lionheart fights him for it, right? And so they're like, this script has a Muslim hero. Jews and Muslims are allied against Europeans in the story, and they're friendly. And this is a lot of people were like, we don't want to see Jewish Muslim friendly in Jerusalem story. That divided the politics of a lot of people in Hollywood who didn't like that agenda. And so, but they couldn't say no to Imagine and Gail Ann Hurd and Laura Ziskin and everybody else because these are powerful producers. So no one would pass on it. But everyone said, if Sony makes a bid, Paramount will make a counter. But we're not going to be the first ones to do it because it's too controversial. So I sat there waiting for every single studio to start the bidding process. And
so all you needed is someone to put their chip in first, and then it goes around the table.
And then they were politically covered and saying, well, look, we had to bid because, we couldn't let Sony get this. But Sony's waiting for Paramount. They're waiting for Warner Brothers. And I'm sitting there like, what the hell's happening here? And so instead of getting a $3 million payout, nothing happened. The script just sat there with no passes. And I was crushed. And then, but it got me a lot of attention and got me my first job. I got on Twilight Zone because of all the attention I was getting. People were like, we should get this guy a job in this industry. He's a nobody, just arrived in here. So I got my first job as a staff writer on Twilight Zone. And then the script, it was so hurt me that we had gotten this far and no one would bid on it that I then novelized it. I turned the script into a novel and I spent the next 4 years trying to get an agent to represent the novel and spent 4 years of rejection. On rejection. I would go to conferences everywhere because I had screenwriting representation. I didn't have novelist literary representation. 2007, a new literary agent had just joined my agency, and my agent said, "Can you just look at this kid? He's been talking about the script for you. Just look at it. Can you look at his novel?" And she's like, "Oh, Crusade's novel. I don't want to read it. It's not my kind of thing." She read it, and she called me like a month later saying, "This is one of the best books I've ever read. What the hell is this thing?" She put it out there. She sold it, and there was a bidding war. I was like, and then I let's just say it covered what didn't happen. I ended up getting I ended up getting a 2-book deal out of Simon & Schuster plus 12 publishers overseas, right? And the book got out. So I'm sharing this story, and hopefully it's not just a narcissistic story, but hopefully it can give everyone here something to talk about how the industry works and its irrationality and its economics. And I'm going to shut up now. That was a long story.
I feel like I learned
That
a
was
lot.
a crazy story.
No, it was a great story, but I do have to introduce the boss man himself.
Oh, the king.
I was just
Joining
wondering,
us.
this is probably
Andre.
the time Andre gets up in the morning. So
Also, he's
I
not.
was about to say good morning, everyone. This lovely Sunday morning here where I am. And also on that note, I know that this is still a little bit early for everyone in the Pacific time zone, but for everyone else, let me wish you all a happy 4th of July.
Doesn't matter. They're all equally drunk.
Yay.
That's the most
Thanks,
important
boss.
thing.
Also, High
Yeah.
Culture Casino.
Yes.
Yeah,
we also had Culture
where did
Casino.
Culture? There he is. Hey, Culture.
Sneak
Yeah,
in
long
here as
time no
well.
see.
How you been, Culture?
Oh,
yeah,
really great
busy.
crowd. Look at this crowd.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
a really nice group of people.
There you go.
Culture, you just came?
Oh no, I showed up right before
He's
you.
been here
did.
a little while ago, but I just kind of barely introduced him when he came in.
I'm quiet and I wasn't sleeping, so here I am. So there you are.
He hopped in right after his super chat, so it just kind of worked out that way.
Well,
Stephen
perfect.
Otten says, just get Chris Pratt to play Indy. Oh, wait, problematic, right? Yeah. Speaking of that, a couple of the members here have seen Chris Pratt's new film that everybody's going after.
Is it good or
Amazon.
bad?
I've heard mostly good things about it. I'm going to try and check it out here soon. But
It's all right. It's like if you're really like war movies, you'll enjoy. It's like you'll enjoy it. But it's like it's not as bad. It's not as bad as people are kind of making out to be.
I had a totally different take. Yep, it wasn't my cup of tea either.
I fucking hated it.
I didn't like it at all.
What was wrong with it? What don't people like about it?
Okay. Can I tell my quick
Tom
take?
has it will be.
Yeah, ladies first.
Some people.
I got to go
haven't
take
seen
a leak anyway, so go for it.
Well, I'm gonna see it tomorrow, so I don't know. I think I'm gonna.
I can't
no
say
spoilers.
anything because there's
Christy,
no
what-
spoilers. Okay, never mind.
Okay, so you do know, like with the trailer, it brings like the people in the future, and that they're basically recruiting people of the past to fight in the future. Okay.
Which is so incredibly dumb. I mean, if you have time travel technology, I mean, that's a really freaking heavy ask. Okay, we have this war going on.
I get
Why
some
don't you
revolutionary
come
war
and join
dudes
us?
who can't use super modern weaponry. I mean, what's the
No,
value?
you guys. This movie is predominantly about like what this is a propaganda movie. This is an extreme propaganda movie.
Okay.
And
What's propaganda?
in terms of like, I can't give away the spoilers because people haven't seen it, but
So is it
kind of
right wing
agree with
propaganda or
Nina's
left wing propaganda?
it's both. It's for everyone. It's for the global. It's the global warming situation with
That's a little lefty.
the ice caps and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
The big pharma's in it. Big pharma is basically like the lead. The hero is big pharma. With their amazing cure to everything that's gonna happen.
No.
Russia is the enemy because they are just
We've
so
never done that before.
they're so very very incompetent and can't do anything. So therefore they let a giant
So I have
swarm take over the world. It's just the most
Nina, no,
ridiculous
come on
thing
now.
I've
I have a
ever
very
heard.
simple
Instant
question.
No.
It was so stupid.
So
That's a simple question. I'm sorry.
Oh, but no, go ahead. You
If
first.
you have a time machine, wouldn't the best course of action going to be being like go back in time to before whatever event, cause all the issues, and stop it and nip it in the butt there?
We can't say
Don't be
anything.
like the
I'm not
Terminator.
saying
Okay,
anything.
It's really stupid, and they can't decide if they want to be string theory or quantum theory. So they go with one, and at first they explain that we're doing this through because there's one timeline and blah blah blah, and we're going from the beginning from one point to the other. But then in the end, they change their story around, which creates a paradox. I mean, you can't there's no good sci-fi anymore.
And that's also annoying because string theory is, for all intents and purposes, disproven. It's mathematical malarkey and nothing else.
Well, okay, so here's the thing, and here's also kind of where I disagree with Nina. So it's not so much a big propaganda. Like I kind of disagree with the thing, the notion that it's like a big propaganda-y type piece.
Okay.
But the problem is that writing is like writing time travel in sci-fi, in my opinion, rarely works out well because it always leaves you with so many different questions. And there's they spend I think a good 5 minutes trying to solve all these different well, hey, why don't you do this type thing, or why don't you do this type thing? And instead of quelling all the questions that they ask, they leave out even a bunch more. Like, for example, when they have so it's kind of like a Logan's Run sort of thing, where it's like if you're above a certain age, they make a line where it's notice the people who are going in are over 40, and they do a time testing to see that you're not alive during when you
Willie, you're giving away kind of stuff.
That's not really that big of okay. All right, so it's sort of a Logan's Runny type thing, but then they give these people in the time period when they go into the future really shitty weapons to where they can't even effectively kill these swarms.
No, they had great weapons, Willie. See, that was one of the problems of the movie. It wasn't that the weapons weren't working. It's the fact that the monsters were so incredibly strong, and it made no sense why they would be that invincible, compared to the most advanced weapons that the military wanted to show off. By the way, that was the other cabal that was in on this movie, was the military.
Well, the thing is when I was watching it with my family, they were like, "Why don't you just I would have just brought in grenade launchers, or just brought in things instead of freaking automatic weapons to try and shoot these fools." But there was a lot of it's the biggest problem was the time travel part, because is that anytime you write time travel, it's even, and I'm gonna probably piss off Tom, even in Back to the Future, when they do with time travel, they create a lot of problems.
It's not perfect.
No, and that's the same thing. And I remember when Midnight's Edge did a plot leak of Endgame, and they were like, "Oh yeah, the Avengers go back in time." I'm like, "Nope, I'm out," because it always creates. Well, I shouldn't say always. More times than not, it creates problems, and this movie is no exception. Chris Pratt's all right. I mean, he's it's like a little whimsical type, humor and stuff. But I mean, it was if you're really.
I just have a question. Why couldn't they defeat the aliens? Couldn't they just make a phone call and then bring in the Mexicans from south of the border?
No, it's explained. Oh, trust me. And with time,
I mean, because we have kids left and right. I mean, there must have been all kinds of Mexicans that we could have pulled in from south of the border. Oh yeah, arriba, andale.
Oh my god.
There was one thing that really bugged me, but it would get into spoilers, and so there was one logic thing.
Oh, I gotta take off my headphones. I'm taking off my headphones.
That bothered me, and I'm wondering is it okay if I kind of mention it?
Taking off my headphones.
Rather than the plot. What's the aspect of it that bothered you? You don't have to give the plot away.
Well, so basically, so the aliens work sort of like a hive, termites and things. So where there's a queen and there's a bunch of males, and the scientists developed a nerve toxin that kills the males.
That's the big pharma guys.
But they're like, oh, we can't just use this toxin just to kill all the males and just basically have the females just kind of, just pick off the females. We have to be sure that we kill the females as well. And it's like, no, you don't. you got a toxin that can kill all the males off. they can't really procreate much after that.
So basically, it's mimic. It's the giant cockroaches where you have to kill everything except the one.
It sounds mysteriously like some kind of a vaccine to me. But hey, what?
Exactly.
On that note, Eric Winberg says, "Happy 4th of July." Well, happy
I will
4th
say
of July to you.
Yeah.
I will say this, which hopefully all of us can agree on. The one time travel worked is Star Trek City on the Edge of Forever. Okay. That I think is the one time
It also
worked when
works in
Kirk
dark
has to go
from
back and let the
Netflix.
women he loves.
I know I might get my man card ripped off for me, but time travel worked in Kate and Leopold.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, it did. Where it worked, like basically it was like, well, no, it's like the woman that Hugh Jackman's guy was supposed to meet was you, but he only could have done that by going into the future and
What
meeting
the fuck
you. And
is
you going
Kate
into
and
the
Leopold?
it's a rom-com. It's a rom-com with Hugh
I know what
Jackman.
it is.
Yeah.
I love Hugh Jackman.
The
So
butterfly effect.
Butterfly effect. That was actually on TV just yesterday. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna watch this. Well, all right, okay. Here's one. Let's see how many of you remember this. This was the classic Christopher Reeve, TV movie, Somewhere in Time.
I heard of that. I haven't seen. I've heard of it.
It's
There's
really-
Never seen it, unfortunately.
It's beautiful. It's incredibly romantic. It's basically Christopher Reeve. Without revealing the wonder of the movie, he's a college professor who one day an old woman at a party comes up to him and just gives him a pocket watch and says, "Come back to me." And he's like, "What the hell is this about?" And then she dies. And he goes like, "Who is this weird woman that gave me this pocket watch?" And he looks her up, and she was a big, famous, actress, like stage Broadway actress, 70 years ago or whatever. And so he gets obsessed. He falls in love with this image of her at 20 that he sees in an old Broadway playbill. And he becomes obsessed with trying to find a way to go back in time and meet her. And it's an incredibly romantic, heartbreaking story that, it's one of Christopher Reeve's best performances. I got to be
one of the greatest.
Yeah, it is a good one.
He's 100% right. Yeah, that film was so good. Yeah, there it is. There it is.
It's it will make you cry. If
Mary
you're in a
Steenburgen
romantic
is in it
relationship, you
too.
got to watch it with your other.
Oh, I was muted. What was it called again?
Somewhere in Time.
Somewhere in Time.
Oh, Somewhere in Time.
There's a Blu-ray of it, and what's amazing is the Blu-ray actually captures what they did. They did a cinematography thing where the cinematography they used for the present day scenes is a different film stock than they use for the ones in the past. They use an old film stock for the ones in the past, so you feel like you're back there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And it shot, the cinematography is ridiculous, but just every single element of that film is done so very well. They really thought about it from the set design. Every aspect of that film is ridiculously well crafted.
And it's really emotional, man.
There's only one answer. There's only one answer to any movie that gets time travel right, and I keep telling people this.
Hot Tub Time Machine.
No, but that's close.
I love it, Valiant. Yes.
It's Time Cop. Everybody forgets it's Time Cop. Time Cop gets it right.
Time Cop's a good movie.
From the very beginning to the end.
Can I share my Jean-Claude Van Damme story? You guys want to hear it?
Please, we love Jean-Claude Van Damme stories.
Yeah, I'd love to hear a Van Damme story.
You want to hear this, Andre? You want to hear this?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Do you have to ask us 7 times? No, of course. Yes, please.
All right. So this is a weird thing because it actually ties in what I said earlier about being a lawyer and having access to things, right? So in my last, I have to be careful what I say because of legal privilege or whatever, but in my last job as a lawyer before I quit to become a full-time screenwriter, I happened to be on some case where for whatever reason, I won't reveal why, whatever reason, I had access to certain private documents from Jean-Claude Van Damme's divorce. Like I said, lawyers have access to everything, right? And I read a lot about his private life in these documents. And I said, whoa, man, that's a little bit out there, right? I hope I never meet that guy, right? And so 6 years go by, my career has gone up, it's gone down. I'm desperate for money. And a friend of mine calls me and says, hey, I know you're trying to make your rent. This is probably not your kind of thing, but I got a project with Jean-Claude Van Damme. You want to do it? I was like, whatever, man. How much is it? They're like, he's got like a deadline. If you can get a script done for this producer in 2 weeks, they got a special fund at Sony that they have to access, which closes in 2 weeks. It's a tax fund of some kind, and the tax year ends in 2 weeks. So if you can get them the script in 2 weeks that's in filmable shape, they're going to make the movie immediately. They'll be in production in 4 weeks, right? And they're going to give you $400,000. So I was, man, I can't make next month's rent. $400,000? Yeah, I'll do this. No problem. Talk to the producer, and I meet Jean-Claude Van Damme, and it's like a movie that's his idea about he wants to he's like a cop in New Orleans, a French cop in New Orleans who's framed for something he didn't do. He ends up in prison with all the people he put in prison who want to kill him now, right? And then he breaks out and there's a serial killer and whatever. Okay, so that was his idea. And I met him, and we met in a restaurant, and he was a little animated. And so he would keep jumping up in the middle of his pitch of the movie and like acting it out, like in the middle of the restaurant. Like this is like high class restaurant. He would get up and he'd be kicking and whatever and doing this stuff. It's like, you have to make it like this and make sure I do this. It was like, I was like, yeah, Jean, whatever, I'll do it, right?
That would be the stunt coordinator, but yeah, okay.
Literally, he was telling me all the action moves I had to put in. I was like, and he was doing them in the middle of the restaurant. And it's like the restaurant was just ignoring. I was like, Jean-Claude Van Damme. It was like, that's what he does. Tuesday, right? Yeah, this is like a high class restaurant, and he's just doing his thing. So whatever. I was like, all right, whatever. I'm just gonna do this guy, and this guy's a little bit crazy, but I'm gonna do it. So I spent the next 2 weeks. I wrote the script, and I wanted that $400,000, right? So I poured my heart into this thing, and then I hand the script in on Friday. The date's due. Saturday morning, the producer calls me, and his voice is like quivering with emotion. And this guy, you guys all see that movie Bowfinger?
Yes, I love that.
Yes, one of my favorites. Yeah.
Martin. So this guy is the character. He's that guy. He's that guy who's like always on the fringe of Hollywood, but never quite makes it, right? And now he's got his big thing. He's got a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. So he's got. It's literally that moment in the movie. He's like, I've got the thing. I just need to get all I need is that guy, and I got the movie. It's a go movie, right? So this was his big break. And so he called me, and his voice was filled with emotion, and he said, "This is a really good script. We could actually put this in a theater." Like he was a direct-to-DVD guy, right? And so it was like, this could actually be his like moment to be a theatrically produced producer, right? So this is huge. And he's like, oh man, I'm so glad we met. We'll get this. I'm going to get this to Sony right now. We'll be in production. I'm going to cut you a check for $400,000 next week. And I got another movie with Steven Seagal that I want you to work on. I'm like, yeah, let's just give me the check and we'll talk about Seagal later, right? Just give me the check. So I'm like, great. I just hit the payday. I was calling my agents. I was like, hey, I need a business manager. That's a lot of money. I got to figure out some investment for that, right? I was in a great mood. So Monday morning, I get a call from the same producer who's like, could you come into the office? Jean-Claude has a few notes. I was like, man, we don't have time for notes. You're telling me you're supposed to be in pre-production next week to get this money from this fund. Give me my check, and there's no time for Jean-Claude's notes. Just film it. I gave you a filmable script. That was the deal. Right? There's no second draft in my contract. This is it. And so he's like, no, he's the star. You got to come in. I was like, all right, fine. Whatever. I'll come in. I'll a few notes. I'll execute them, whatever. Let's get it done. Give me my money. So I show up in the office and Jean-Claude is there and he's got literally his entire entourage there. There's like all these people I know. I think there's a dude that might've been his hairdresser. There's all these random people in this conference room that I don't know who these people were. And he's sitting there and he looks at me. He holds up my script and he goes, Pasha, what is this piece of shit you write for me? I'm a movie star. You write this piece of shit. I was like, oh, it's going to be a long day. So I spend the next 4 hours where Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh, I know, because it didn't keep the detailed descriptions. Cameron does the crane kick here.
There was some of that, but it's literally like, as someone once told me afterwards, is like, you wrote a really good script. He knew he couldn't execute it. So you had to dumb it down because he couldn't. He's like, he can't live up to this, right? And so he knew that he wouldn't be able. I mean, he's not a terrible actor. Like I said, Time Cop's a good movie, but it's actually a well-written movie. Yeah. But for whatever reason, at this stage in his life, he thought this is. So he goes through the script for the next 4 hours, line by line, telling me what to say. He's like, no, I cannot say this. There's no poetry to this. And he comes up with some bullshit line that's like garbage. And he's like, Pasha, you writing this? I'm like, please God, get me out of this situation. Please God, I just want my $400,000. And he's like, please get me out of this, right? And so this goes on and on and on. And the same producer who was like kissing my butt 2 days ago was like, Cameron, you really failed us, man. I really put my faith in you. And he's saying this in front of Jean-Claude. I put my faith in you, and you embarrassed me in front of Jean-Claude. I'm going to expect a full rewrite. And no, you're not going to get $1 until you get this rewrite done right. And so he's lambasting me. I'm
Oh
sitting there
my
like, this is a
God,
nightmare.
you're not supposed to do that. What an asshole.
Like I said, it's Bowfinger, right? And so
Did you get the $400,000?
And I was like, "Where's my money?" And he's like, "No, you're not gonna get anything until you give us the rewrite that Jean-Claude accepts, and you need to get it in the next 48 hours because we got to film. If we're not, we're gonna lose the money from this fund." So I'm sitting there like, "God, get me out of this. I don't want to do that. I'm not gonna write this garbage film. They should film this thing. I'm not gonna do what this crazy guy wants me to do, but I need the money. So what do I do?
400,000 is a lot of money.
It is a lot of money. So suddenly, this is the divine moment. So 4 hours into this, I get a phone call from my agent. I say, "Gentlemen, excuse me, I have to take this call." I get out of the conference room. I take the call. And the call is, "Cameron, incredible news. You've just got offered a job on this new show, Sleeper Cell, on Showtime, the show that would launch my career and that would get me."
It's a good show.
Right? And it was Showtime, and it was a lot of money. It wasn't $400,000, but it was. I remember I couldn't even pay my rent. So I was like, and they're like, they need you to start essentially tomorrow. Right. So hopefully you're done with Jean-Claude. We're going to get you this thing. I was like, yeah, we'll talk about Jean-Claude in a second, but we're done. This thing is closed. You got me this thing? It's like, yeah, they got it. I was like, so you want me to start tomorrow? Okay. So I hang up. I walk back into the room. It's the only time I've ever done in my career. I say, "Jean-Claude, I'm so sorry. I have this other gig I just got. I can't do this rewrite. I don't have time. So I think you should just film the script I gave you." And he's flipping out. He literally starts screaming at me. He's like, "You're going to walk out on me? I'm going to destroy your career. I'm going to ruin your career." So he starts screaming at me. I'm like, and the producer's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Hey, I fulfilled my contract. I gave you one draft. It's a good draft. You're listening to this crazy guy. Not my problem. Pay me my money." And so I walk out, and they never pay me my money. But basically, after my agents threatened them or whatever, so you can't just actually take his script and not pay him anything, right? They eventually settled it out. They gave me like, $40K, 10% of it just to get rid of me, right? Which, yeah, that's great, but I thought the story was over then. I thought the story was, it's not over.
Oh my God.
So I think it's over. I'm working on Sleeper Cell. Suddenly I'm treated with great respect on this
There's
show.
a fucking end credit scene.
There's an end credit scene.
This is a post-credit scene.
And so end credit scene will continue on for years. But this is the event. So about 3 or 4 months later, I'm working on Sleeper Cell. I'm getting real respect on the show. I'm seeing this is going to be my break. I'm seeing it, right? That this is going to be a huge show, and I'm getting a lot of respect from the network and everything, and role and importance on the show. So I'm sitting there one day in that office on the show. I get a call from my friend who introduced me to all these characters, and she's a wonderful person. And and she called me, and she's somebody I respect. And she said, "Cameron, I know things didn't work out with you and Jean-Claude, and I heard your version of events, right? But I finally read the script you wrote for him, and it's the worst thing I've ever read in my life. It's shockingly bad. I mean, you embarrassed me. I introduced you to all these people, and then you wrote them this garbage, and then you created drama and left. This hurts my relationship." So I'm like, I'm so sorry. And let me back up now. So there was, amongst the many notes that he was giving me, he was obsessed with a scene in the prison where the cop is being attacked by some of the people that he put in the jail. And so it's like a moment where one of them tries to shank him. He's like, "No, this is, again, there's no elegance to it. There's no poetry. What you have to do," and he gives me the whole thing. "You have to rewrite it. I'm in the prison shower. I'm just standing there. The water flows."
Oh my God.
Are you kidding me?
What?
And then this guy comes up to me, and he's got muscles, rippling muscles, and it's very erotic moment. This is not a joke. This is not a joke. I'm sitting there like, what's happening here? This is not. And
I'd be
then
like, "Can you demonstrate?"
he was demonstrating. And then,
Oh my God.
and then he pushes me against the wall, and he runs his hand along my thigh. I'm not making this up. And
Wait, did he push you against a wall and start doing that?
He's in this weird erotic moment in the shower with somebody in the prison, pushes Jean-Claude against the wall, runs.
I need to go find an adult. I'll be back.
No, you can't leave just yet. You can't leave just yet. Go. Runs his hand up Jean-Claude's leg, and then suddenly pulls a shank and holds it to his neck. So
wow.
Erotic to very dangerous. It's sexy. I was like, I'm not gonna write
wow.
What? This is so gay.
And so my friend, she's like going over the script. She's like, I was like, "What's wrong with the script?" She reads it, and the first time I was like, "I didn't write that." She's like, "What about this? This little crappy line of dialogue?" "I didn't write that." She's like, "Well, what's this sort of weird erotic scene in the shower where he's almost raped?" He rewrote the script the way he wanted. And put my name on it.
What?
And he was shouting it around town with my name on it.
Oh no!
Oh no!
So she's like, "This is the worst." And so remember, he
Did
said
you
he's going to ruin my
sue?
career.
Oh my
I mean, he's like, I know I'm
god.
protecting your rights. I'm not, because I could sue him if he stole something of mine, but he's giving me credit. He's giving me credit for his genius. So he thinks he's being generous. So I was like, oh my, this is being shopped around town with my name on it. So, and the final end scene is,
Oh no!
Two credits.
So 3 years later, so now this is 12
Sequel.
years after this incident. 3 years later, so 3 years ago, 12 years after this madness, I get a call from a friend of mine, his executive. He's like, I'm so glad, because we're working on a project, and she was like, I'm so glad it's working out that that we met up and we're doing a great job on this. But I have to be honest with you, I was really reluctant to give you this job because I read that horrible script you wrote for Jean-Claude Van Damme. I mean,
no.
it was still spreading around town with my name on it and was taking gigs away from me.
Oh my god, it's like VD.
So
wow, that may be TMI for the kids.
Isn't that a great?
That's an insane story.
What you should do is send your original script around town. So
Yeah,
people can
why
read the
didn't you
other
do
version.
that?
I have it. But if
That's what I'm saying.
People like you rewrote it, doesn't matter. That's the one.
Couldn't
say
you
just
like
email it
refuse credit and claim it was written by Judas Booth or something?
Well, the thing is, it was never produced. It just lands on these people's.
No, I
desks
get what he's
and they
saying.
read
Yeah.
it. Yeah, they read it. Like, what is this crap?
That's amazing. And
Oh
off
wait,
that,
your other friend saw the original script though, right?
She never saw my original script. He never showed it. I never showed it to her.
Got a question.
Yeah.
Did his script end up getting made?
Never.
Not yet. He just said recently.
Like I said, he's still out there shopping it around. 12 years later, people are talking.
He'll
Oh my
never get it
god,
made.
this guy holds a grudge. Van
It
Damme.
sounds like Van Damme. Adrian
Well, he just
Nazarick.
wants people to see this beautiful scene in the shower. This beautiful romantic scene.
Obviously.
Oh shit! He says, "Please take my money. You're more entertaining than Disney."
Absolutely.
So very
Thank
true. After that
you.
story, even though that was from earlier, it rings so
I think
true.
that Van Damme, he should just write a story taking place in the bathhouses.
Wow!
No, you
Like the eyes wide shut of kung fu movies or some shit.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
you
that's
know what
exactly
you
it.
should do, Kamran, is
Yes.
you should pull a Larry David and write an episode about this entire thing.
I was
That's
just
what you
going to say,
should
do you
do.
have a memoir or something? Because your
Well, it-
stories are incredible.
You should write a Curb Your
It reminds-
Enthusiasm episode and send it to Larry
Well, it
David.
almost reminds me of that one movie. I can't remember if it's The Player or something like that, where they write the script and then they keep changing everything into the script. That by the time you get to the end of the movie, they're like, it's not even the same script anymore because they changed the locale, the love interest, and all this other shit in the movie, and it's like. It's not even the script he wrote. It's like Enduron, it sends in €5, right? Yeah, €5 and says Happy 4th of July. That means a lot coming from somebody over there. So thank you.
sweet.
Yeah, we just crossed midnight in the Pacific time
Yeah,
zone.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
everywhere.
Everyone in
Happy
America.
4th of July, everyone.
God
Yeah,
bless
happy
him.
4th of July.
Except for Hawaii, which is 3 hours more, but that's fine.
Oh
But
my
they're not the
god.
continental United States, are they?
Yeah.
It's not even a
I
real
think
country
Alaska, too.
anyway.
Thank you
El
guys.
Foul, my partner
Thank
in
you.
culture
Happy 4th of
conference.
July to you guys.
Finally,
4th
culture
of July to
conference.
you guys too.
Tom really showing off his American education right there.
I'm joking, obviously.
I
Adam
know.
Wolford says Terminator has a good time traveling rules. You can't bring anything from the future like weapons, but then the chip and the arm in the first, it should have reset from the beginning of the first. No, Adam. Terminator has one of the worst.
So
It's broken.
I gotta
Terminator has the sacred timeline that just keeps on updating.
Well, even the original idea is pretty. Oh, now I lost a bunch of chats, so I'm gonna have to go into the thing here. All right. Well, yeah, you guys vamp a second. I got to.
What were you gonna say, Christy?
Sorry, Christy.
You're still processing my story.
Breathe, Christy.
That story
Breathe.
I
is
was watching
incredible.
some Twitch stream and they were doing GeoGuessr, and they were doing the countries.
Wait,
and
you
they're-
weren't paying attention to that incredible story?
No, I was, but Tom's
wasn't
little
that
comment. No. Tom's little comment where he said Hawaii, the country, made me think about it. And
Okay.
and then the one who I was watching, he was like, "What country starts with SF?" And another streamer is like San Francisco.
Oh my god.
I was
To be
just
fair, she's not wrong. San Francisco basically is its own country.
Well, have you all seen that map of like why you shouldn't invade America? And there's like, there's this Midwest is like, it's like the South is like rednecks with guns, right?
Yeah.
And then it got to San Francisco. It's like, yeah, you could take this part.
I agree. I actually live pretty.
Everything
close.
west of Nevada is yours. Take it.
I actually live pretty close to San Francisco, and back when I used to be a comic book writer, I went to a few comic book conventions in San Francisco. Oh my God, some of the most pretentious mofos I've met. I hated them. And then when I'm like, oh yeah, I'm from San Jose, they immediately turn their nose up at me because San Francisco, they kind of look down at San Jose as like the whippersnappers.
You're across.
I just moved from San Jose.
Oh yeah, I live in San Jose.
You live in now?
Yeah, I'm born and raised, pretty much.
Me too. I'm so glad I'm gone.
What do we got here? And I love how the internet works, kids.
Camera ship from BS.
That was brilliant.
Tom, can you email me?
Yes, I can, sir. Yeah.
Who the hell did that fast?
Who credited it?
I think it'll pass out here. Hang on.
It was Renee.
Shout out to Renee.
Of course, it was Renee.
Right now, after my story?
Yes.
This is live.
That is the new thumbnail for this stream, probably.
Yes, it has to be. It's live internet.
Actually,
This is now.
I already know what Andre's going to make me fucking cut it out.
We'll clip this story.
I knew it.
This is amazing.
To be fair, Tom, I was going to suggest the same thing.
No, I know how Andre thinks sometimes.
So I miss Twitter now. If that's what's happening on Twitter, that's what's happening.
Yes, this was Twitter.
Oh man, Renee is working hard. Oh my God!
Hey, Cameron, right there. There's your ticket to return to Twitter. BS Pashram.
My goodness.
You gotta laugh.
BS Pashram with the picture
It's
of
all a
the
big
moon.
joke, man. This whole journey is a joke. You gotta laugh at it, man.
You have to make she said Curb Your Enthusiasm episode. You need to make your own Curb Your Enthusiasm.
You guys keep
you
this
have
shit
a whole
up.
series.
You're going to get this
I
fucking
got
movie
some
made.
I got crazier stories than that, man. I know. There's stuff that I actually can't say because it would be like there's like stuff that I've seen in this town that if I talked about, like my brake lines would get cut. Right.
Any Eyes Wide Shut
Somebody would
stories?
make sure that my car crashed.
Well,
There's
that's
stuff that I
kinda
know
where we
about
started.
like,
Okay,
you wouldn't
that's
believe
enough
it,
for
and it would be insane if I said it out loud. So yeah.
I believe you.
Yeah, no. Well, and what's so great is like when we're done with the live stream backstage and we're just bullshitting, like a couple people who are quote unquote industry or know of stuff, and they'll tell stories, and there's like, wait, you can't say shit. So I'm just like, when I see something or another producer, whatever they mentioned, I was like, oh my God, they mentioned that like last year backstage. It's
confirmed, right? And so
yes.
No, it's all true, man. It's the Illuminati, the CIA, all of it.
Man.
It's all true, man. Everything you think is going on that you read on weirdo conspiracy sites, all of it is true.
All of it is true, and not just that.
I'm
It's like
afraid of
it's even
waking up
worse than
tomorrow,
you think.
Cameron. Thanks.
Yeah, I don't want to make the whole.
About the Illuminati and the CIA. I ain't gonna give you no details.
But
Vigilante
also
did not
from the point
antivirus
of view-
itself.
What, Andre?
Also going to say that from the point of view from the world of finance and Valiant, you know this true. It's depending on like where one's been and what one's seen. All the weirdest things it's all true. It's all horribly true. All of it.
You wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, and usually not only
You're
it's
not
true, it's worse than you actually
the stream
imagine.
gets
It's worse. It is much worse.
Vigilante did not antivirus itself.
To let you know about. I'm sorry.
So,
I just
so
said
not, go ahead, Vigilante.
none of us antivirus ourselves if none of us are here tomorrow. Just want everyone to know that.
Yeah, that's right.
we haven't revealed all the stuff. But I will say this: if the stuff they're willing to let you know about is Harvey Weinstein, that's the stuff that they're willing to let you know about.
People they want to throw under the bus.
Look at what's happening.
Andrew.
Oh, hey, guys, Culture wanted to say something.
Oh no!
Raise
I
your
was
hand up.
admiring a lot of bravery on the part of some folks here. I will say nothing that I have seen or heard because yeah.
It's a little late. Like 200 and some people have seen it, but yeah, Andrew, yeah, go ahead. That's fine. It's probably good to do that for safety. Everybody.
So not to make the stream completely about Cameron, but Cameron, guess what came in guess what came yesterday in the mail?
Look, oh, this guy's wonderful. I love this guy. See, Mike.
So look, I'm halfway through the first your other book, and I saw that you had another one because I got an Amazon notification, and yeah, here, look, it just came yesterday. I haven't started it because I need to finish the other one.
Finish the first one.
Yeah, I got to finish the first one still, but like I didn't want to wait, so like it's sitting here ready to go. But I love your cover work, your artwork.
Well, this is something again. Let's make it educational, not just about my ego. So
I mean, look at this cover.
The interesting difference between being a screenwriter and being a novelist is that you have so much more power. That cover was essentially designed by me. I didn't draw it, but when the Simon & Schuster sat me down with their design artist and said, "What do you want?" So I said, I want a woman dressed in a green veil, and I want this crescent moon behind her, and I want this and that, and there's the desert. Literally, they drew that. And that, they just same thing with my cover for Shadow of the Swords, Crusades book. I said I want Saladin, I want Richard the Lionheart, and I want the Jewish girl, and behind them I want the Dome of the Rock. It didn't quite exactly happen perfectly because they got the three of them on the cover, right? They got the three of them on the cover, but if you'll see, the Dome of the Rock is really on the back here and it's sort of hidden by the words. But the amazing thing for those of you that want to enter the creative fields, being an author is a lot more power, man. I mean, literally, they all deferred to me. They asked me to market it. You know, that's screenwriter.
Yeah, I heard it.
Not as much power.
Yeah, Willie's always asking for advice, so that's one thing that I think you should take note. House of Trades, thank you so much. Sends us a 2-part super chat here, and then I'm gonna get back to the classic super chats. You hear that, Andre? I actually have classic super chats on
nice.
today.
Yeah, now we're getting
with all the woke crap out there, because they probably wouldn't let him write crap. I'm sure he didn't mess that up on purpose.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, he probably messed it up on purpose, I meant to say. We finally get a decent movie, Tomorrow War. We still rip it apart. Phantom Menace is ever happy with anything. Sorry, I'm just tired of to hear what's wrong over and over. Just how perfect does a movie need to be? No, actually, House of Trades, I didn't listen to most of what they said. I didn't.
Me neither.
Watch it. I'm going to watch it myself. I've heard some good things about it. In fact,
Me too.
I was on with Yellow Flash earlier, and all those guys gave it fairly good reviews that had seen it on the show. So I'm willing to give it a shot.
Can I make a point to that?
Sure.
Because I'm the one that didn't like it, and I'm just saying that to me, it's come to a point where I've had to lower my standards to like mediocre shit, and I feel like that's what's going on. That we're like, oh, okay, this is like mediocre. It's okay. It doesn't have this insane.
Because I kind of did that with Mortal Kombat, since it was like
same here. I did it with Kong versus Godzilla and Mortal Kombat. I like them both, but I was
here's the thing. Here's the thing, Nina. You're not. Your assessment is correct, but at the same time, sometimes I would suggest we see some ghosts because we've been pummeled with something so many times. It's the beaten wife syndrome.
I felt the same way with Bill and Ted with a lot of people.
I just go back to Tremors.
Yeah.
Okay. Bottom line is, if you want something quality, go watch any of Andre's videos on Zorro.
Wait, can you like expand on that culture? What do you mean?
Well, no. There are times when I'll see something in a film that I perceive as incredibly woke, or or full of agenda, and it
probably is.
Well,
but there's some ghost scene. I get you.
But sometimes I'm seeing something that's not there, that was completely innocent, that 25, 30 years ago in the same kind of film wouldn't have raised my hackles at all.
25, 30 years ago, it wouldn't have been in the film, I assure you.
Well, not just that, a lot of the
I
times.
agree with
I
you,
get what
Andre.
culture's saying, too. In the other sense, though, there's a lot of times where, oh, well, she was the key to this all along. That wasn't such a problem as was... We've already seen that story before 20 fucking times 20 years ago. you know, how many times, like, that's what pissed me off about Wonder Woman. Everybody acted like it was such a great movie. I'm like, it was mediocre at best. Yeah, Gal Gadot was great in it. As far as the movie goes, you know, I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from people who enjoyed it, because it is 2/3 of a good movie as far as I'm concerned. It's the end that falls apart. But this whole idea that she can do it because she's no man, like, that is nothing new. That has been something that is brought into I don't know how many movies and stories before, a million times over. Probably way back to the Bible if you really look far enough. David Morris says Corey Feldman has guts. Some anyway. Don't get me started on that, because I did watch his. I went and paid for his whole thing, and I kind of felt like I knew all this shit already. He didn't give me anything new.
Hey Tom, I was wondering, can I comment on the on House Atreides two-parter real quick?
Sure, but yeah, it's funny that was brought up about Corey Feldman, because ironically today, what's his face over at Nickelodeon was finally let go.
What Schneider?
Schneider, yeah.
Why isn't that guy?
I know. Yeah, we're gonna get ourselves canceled here.
Here's like the thing: we actually have a whole video that's never been made about that fucking guy, and the reason we didn't do it is because we would have been fucking sued over it.
Yeah,
but
because
after reading that script, fuck that guy.
Wait, who are we talking about?
Dan Schneider.
He's a gentleman in Nickelodeon that has been accused of
some very horrific shit,
of horrific stuff with the actresses, the young child actresses he's worked with.
Britney Spears' sister being among them.
I've heard stories about him since I worked at Disney at Tron a decade ago, and
Oh
and
my
so
God.
everyone heard these stories. Everyone knew.
Is he that really big guy?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I've seen him.
And
He's
because
creepy.
he made them so
I know
much
him.
money, everyone openly protected him. So when I said Weinstein is the top of the pyramid, he's just a little bit lower, and you're horrified by what you hear.
These
And
are the
there's worse than
guys.
that. There's much worse than that. They
Him
were
and,
this
what's his
this guy they protected for 15 years.
Fucking forever, dude. And these are the kind of guys they need to go after. Yeah.
Yeah, and we all knew what he was doing. Nobody stopped him. They covered it all.
They just
up.
finally let him go
Everyone knew.
completely. Yeah.
I had no idea about this
and
guy.
there's so much more. But let's just say that again. Some of the rumors people have said are things that a lot of these teen girls in the show not just were molested but became pregnant with certain people's children. Right?
Jesus
and
Christ.
And while they were on the shows that we watched, those are the rumors. I'm not going to say that
It doesn't
happened.
take much to find this shit out there, guys.
Let's put it this
Amanda
way: we
Bynes
actually
found
had
out about him, 'cause he was
we had
creepy to
what
her.
would have been a 20-minute video going through stuff like that, and the only reason it didn't get made is we knew this thing is going to get the whole channel shut
Oh,
down.
they'll come after you. He made them so much money they would destroy anybody. He was more powerful than Weinstein because what he did was worse than Weinstein. Right?
Yeah.
Weinstein was never
My
accused of going after
God.
underage girls, right?
Yeah, not only did he make the money, he also supplied people so that he made other people guilty
Allegedly.
as well.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
So, all right,
Please
so
don't
now
say
that we
that.
talk about this horrifying thing, let's go to one of our very clean-hearted people here, Willie Woodward, who's going to respond to an earlier comment. So I don't want
Yes,
to
from House
get too far
Atreides here,
and
yeah.
get this thing pulled. Okay, so
Sorry. So basically, when I was saying my piece, I said it was straight up like not my cup of tea, and I explained my reasonings why. And the thing is, it's like, yeah, I get your frustration with like how like is the fandom menace ever happy with anything, but you got to realize we're all different people. We're all people with our own opinions, which is why we came together in the first place. We're not all going to agree on everything. Some of my favorite movies, if I straight up said like my favorite movies, I know half of this panel is going to be like, really? That's your favorite? That's dumb as hell.
Dude, you talked about liking Kate and Leopold tonight.
Yeah, you
Everyone
brought
was
up
like,
Kate
what
and
the
Leopold,
fuck
dude.
are you
There's
talking about?
Exactly. Exactly.
There's
So-
a movie that I hate.
No, and actually
I'm
that-
doing a review on, and a lot of
Okay.
people love it. So it's like I get it.
What?
The
what
Last
is it?
Jedi?
I can't. No. Well, no. I said that a lot of people love.
I know I was being facetious.
Okay.
No, but actually, Willie, going into your point here, foul ball, trying to be like all like, and you'd be on here, Matt,
Foul
along
ball,
with a
right.
couple other people if we weren't full up. But he goes, bam, vindication. Tom admits Mortal Kombat sucks. Correction, I did not admit it sucks. I said I can understand why some people didn't like it or would like it better because of all the standards we have, and I admitted some of those things. Like, I am not oblivious, and in fact, I told script. I don't want to see the original script because I know it ends better and there's other things in it that would have made the movie better. So I am upset with that fact, but at the same time, I'm happy with what we got in the end. At least it wasn't as bad as it could have been, I guess. And so yeah, in that sense, I do admit that, but I did not say it sucked. But I can understand how other people think it sucks. But then he goes, first Cameron and Bree. Now this, everything's coming up foul ball. Well, you know, I also, you got to admit, I did say I'd wreck Bree though. So
no,
she's not
You said
doing
it last
YouTube
night.
anymore.
You said it last night on the thing.
I've said it before. Like I would fuck her world up.
Uh-oh.
We've got
Wow.
some elegant ladies on this channel, Tom.
This is Midnight's Edge After Dark, and Christy is like my internet ex.
Yeah,
so
that
she already
doesn't,
knows.
that doesn't mean we
After
don't have
dark.
standards.
I'm pretty toxic. I'm okay.
I was gonna say Nina's here. She's a toxic fan.
Oh no, Nina is super
Now-
uber toxic.
now- okay, now
I mean,
if
Andre,
Lorena
if you-
was here, I would probably watch my P's and Q's a little more. But yeah,
Andre, if you had standards, why would you have me allowed in the chat?
That's a good question.
Some of the people in the chat,
Plus,
Lily,
it's
you're
2
a great
o'clock in the
gentleman.
morning. I
We
think
got a few people that are not so gracious, and I'm just gonna let them flow by. So whatever.
I am what I am. I'm not changing myself. I'm like fucking Popeye. All right.
Well, the chat is what it is. But also on that earlier note, though, Mike, you brought up Zorro.
Yes.
And you know what I did yesterday, just for like shits and giggles?
Mhm.
I rewatched The Mask of Zorro, the 1998 feature with Antonio Banderas.
I
You're
love
so
that
funny.
movie.
Andre, you're so funny. You got a camera at my place. I was going to do the same thing at sometime this next week because we just talked about it.
That's
Son of a
Indiana
bitch.
Jones, man, and he like chops off
Which is
her
funny
face.
because that got released in 4K, and I was thinking of getting them too.
Yeah.
And you can't make that movie today because
that was my point.
No way.
There are-
Why not?
There's a lot of stuff that happens in that movie.
Like
There
what?
are 2 points that I wanted to make with that movie. One is that how it's filmed, narratively, all of that, you can't tell that the movie is close to the 25 years old.
Yeah.
Because it looks like it could have been filmed yesterday. They had advanced that far in the late 90s. That like it seriously, it looks like it was filmed yesterday. The only way that you can tell that it's not from now is that movie is so good it could never have been made today. As Cameron says, culture. You are aching to say something.
I am, because D. Bud Martin brought up my point in the chat before I got a chance to say it on the stream, which is the best Zorro movie you could never make today is Zorro the Gay Blade with Hamilton George, also known as George Hamilton.
Oh my!
And I have to tell you, that is one of my favorite Zorro films. As much as I love Antonio Banderas,
We should do a watch party.
that film was ridiculously great and very funny. Very funny. So
We should
thank
do a watch
I've
party on
never
that one
seen
day.
it, and
We should.
Antonio Banderas was freaking hot as Zorro. That was an amazing movie.
Yes,
Yeah.
but when do you get George Hamilton playing both not gay and gay Zorro? It's incredible.
Today, it's the non-gay part would have been problematic today.
Right. But it's incredible.
I don't
So
really
let me-
want to see a gay Zorro. I'll be completely
incredible.
honest with you.
All right,
It's
so let me
great.
advance the story here. I believe that I love Antonio Banderas as an actor. I absolutely love him. I believe his greatest film is The 13th Warrior, which is one of my favorite.
yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, that movie is pretty good.
It's a watch party.
It's a
Not Spy Kids?
well,
Wait, what? No,
Wow.
no.
Joke. Warrior.
Good God,
Wow.
no.
No one said anything about the Spy Kids. 13th Warrior.
Desperado was
Great
my
freaking movie.
actual answer.
Desperado.
here's another
was fucking
story.
awesome.
Okay, here's another story. So one day, it's actually not that long ago, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, at a party, I met Warren Lewis, who is the screenwriter of the 13th Warrior, and I couldn't believe this guy was standing next to me, and at this cocktail party, and I immediately started quoting line upon line upon line, and he was moved like almost to tears. He's like, "You like the movie? Did anybody even see it?" I was like, "You have no idea. This thing is a huge cult thing. People have memorized scenes. I know that movie by heart." And this guy is so humble. He doesn't grasp what an impact that movie had on people.
This is often the case, especially like before, a little bit before the internet stuff, when you had like people that were with things that were these huge cult things, and the people in them had no freaking idea.
Yeah, it just. Well, actually, okay. Here's another great story. So this is one of the great moments of when I was on Twilight Zone. we we actually met the creator of the original Outer Limits, right?
Oh,
so and
Nice.
this gentleman, he must have been in his 80s or 90s, and he came to have lunch with us, and he was telling us stories of television in the 60s and the 50s, and you're like, my God, this is like essentially, the other guy besides Rod Serling from that era, right? And you're sitting there like, I can't believe I'm getting these insights from somebody who's making the Outer Limits, right? Is this revolutionary science fiction anthology show right up there with the Twilight Zone. And that's when you get really humbled. You're like, he's just this little old man who's like late into his life, and you're like, he doesn't have any idea of the impact that show had on 2 generations.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Exactly.
Well, I'm kind of curious, Cameron. Do you think maybe is that he doesn't know that he has the impact of those movies, or is that he's so humble he just doesn't think about how much of an impact those had?
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of the latter, because I think every time I've met screenwriters from that era, they are very humble, right? I mean, and they've also, and a part of it is the former, because they've been beaten down, right? They didn't get a lot of respect in the times that they did it, even though it had this massive cultural effect on the planet, and they didn't make a lot of money. A lot of those guys were broke, right? They didn't really profit from the incredible things that they created. A lot of those guys are bitter about their journey, and so there is the pain that you see on their faces as well, that they made these things and Hollywood essentially raped them, right? And then they're just like a lot of these are sort of old dudes living out their lives in like Hollywood retirement homes, telling stories to the staff, right? And that's the end of their incredible journey.
Well, and it's worse because nowadays SAG-AFTRA has cut back on their insurance in a way that doesn't cover their health anymore. I mean, and they're doing that to even younger. Yo, dude, you have no idea. The stuff that's going on in the background right now from the union side of things is just
I
disgusting.
thought that stuff's on lockdown control, like it's like hardwired in. I thought
Not anymore. Not anymore. And the only guy. And the only guy that was fighting it, was Ed Asner, who is, he's slightly left to the Kaiser, but the guy is doing the best he can to try to hold that system up because it was a promise. See, this is the problem with a lot of these systems. You make a promise and then you don't fulfill it. And these are the kinds of business promises that piss me off because there has to be a reasonable growth that's associated with the growth in the numbers, and as you get more and more members that are getting into that decline, and that never happened with some of these organizations, and they hit a little speed bump, like I don't know, a global crisis of whatever form or fashion, however it's created. And this is where we end up. And these people are going to be desperate in the next 5 years. And it's going to come out of taxpayer pockets and not the union who originally made the promises. And that's disgusting.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Kind of like just goes with everything else, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, SAG is the worst right now when it comes to healthcare and stuff like that. I mean, I've been hearing how the requirements they place to just get any kind of healthcare coverage are so high. The Writers Guild has a pretty good health plan right now, but some of the people inside the system have been warning, man, you've created essentially a pyramid scheme here that's not going to be sustainable, right?
Right.
SAG went through, and now they're at the not sustainable part of it, right? And so the problem is when some of my fellow writers raised this issue that, in the last couple of years, the big issue was the Writers Guild forced us all to fire our agents as a negotiation tactic over this issue called packaging, which is too complex to get into here. But I did it. I fired my wonderful agents at UTA that I had been with for 5 years. I fired them because the Writers Guild said, if you don't fire them, you're going to be unable to work as a Writers Guild member. So I let go of my own agents who were my friends. I had to fire them, and I resented it. And a large minority of us were very vocal that this is the wrong move that you're making us do, and brought up the issue of the real problem is the pension and health. You're not paying attention to that. And we were shouted down. We were called essentially liars, that none of that is true. You selfishly want your agents, and we're trying to change the system. I was like, that's not the problem. The problem is in a few years, the healthcare is going to collapse like it's collapsed for SAG. Wow. And now they're beginning to say, maybe that might be coming. Yeah, we warned you guys, and you didn't listen to us.
No, they didn't. And it's the same problem that the auto workers, airlines, every other number of these other large organizations run into at the end of the road, because you make a lot of promises in a union to get membership and to get adoption. And you can't. Those often turn out to be unsustainable, goals, because you get to a certain point, like you just said, where it's a pyramid scheme, and it rapidly becomes that. It's faster than you think. So there. Anyway, wow. I didn't mean to go off on that.
I really got to catch up on these super chats, even though, that's some bullshit. Dark King says Zorro is gay. He's all into the sword play. Now we're told that's not gay anymore.
Wait, what?
Gay. You can
Wait,
do
what?
that. Men can stand around and touch each other naked, and I'm assuming sword play is involved in that.
Jean-Claude Van Damme should know all about that.
Exactly.
Well, that's
Oh
why
my God.
I was like, Jean-Claude, I don't have any problem with
it's a beautiful
homoerotic
thing.
stuff, right? I mean, I don't got a problem with that. I'll write what needs. I don't know that it fits this scene and this character. It's like, oh, you have no vision. I was like, okay.
Not the vision he has, anyway. Adam
Cameron,
Wolford.
it was a bromance. That's all it was.
Adam Wolford says the 13th Warrior had a different title. It was originally called
Mm-hmm.
Eater of the Dead. Also, the 90s Zorro was Star Wars A New Hope. Read the book. Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's actually based on the Michael Crichton book, Eaters of the Dead, which is, is actually a fictionalization of a true story, which is Ibn Fadlan, the character Antonio Banderas plays, a real guy. He was I believe, 9th century Arab ambassador from the Caliph of Baghdad, who was sent to the Rus Vikings of Russia, Russia and sort of Ukraine and all those. I'm sorry, Lithuania and those areas. And he wrote this incredible account in the 9th century of his journey to the Vikings. And a lot of what we actually know about Viking culture come from Ibn Fadlan's account. We don't actually, because the Vikings weren't sitting around writing a lot of their stories, and he was telling all the stuff we know about their rituals of how they would, the burning ships and all that for the dead, and that was stuff he witnessed and he wrote about, and that's the primary account historians have of day-to-day Viking life.
Yeah, no, it's true. Like the Vikings, they didn't write that much down, and most that we have from like Scandinavia proper is actually from Iceland, because you had a couple of scouts and everything that were there, and that's where they wrote down the leftovers that we still have of Norse mythology,
the saga.
the sagas and everything. It's like the Iceland sagas for a reason, because the Norway, Sweden, and Denmark sagas are all lost to time.
And then we got Dark King, who comes in again and says, is that cultural appropriation against gays?
Yes.
Yes.
We'll go with yes.
And for a second there, I thought his name was Duck King. I was like, what the hell?
What? Oh,
shut up!
It's all good.
It's early.
Platonic Guardian came in earlier. We're going back now a ways. Sorry it took so long to get here. Bill and Ted 1, Terminator 1, Harry Potter 3, and Tenet get time travel right. I don't know about Bill and Ted.
Did it.
Other movies, especially Endgame, get it totally wrong. Casualties matter.
No, I just want to say Tenet did it really well because they left it open. Because there's always a loop they have to close.
A show.
I want to hear this. You're a fan of Tenet. I was a fan just in that I was happy to see a movie in the theater that was released and I was able to see it. I got a lot of questions about that film, but you're a fan of it. So I'd love to hear more about why.
I was happy to see so much of it in Norway, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah. It's one of those films. I walked in, and I was like, I enjoyed this film, right? And then I watched it again recently on HBO Max, and the same experience happened. Only I could hear more of the dialogue, because that was the biggest problem. I felt like I was watching Star Trek 1, right? Because I was like, the sound mixing is garbage.
It was atrocious.
But the dialogue, it didn't really matter. What I enjoyed was all the thought that went into having to balance out a timeline. You're managing a timeline to prevent this catastrophe. It answers that same question kind of in real time of how you could go back and get rid of Hitler, but then there's all these other problems that come along with it. It was really well done, in my opinion. I think the writer did a great job, but they didn't. What they were smart about is they didn't close the loop, right? That there was ultimately a resolution. They left it open, so that because they gave you the realization that there were so many other things that had to happen along the way, and the person that you brought in was the person at the very beginning of it, but he didn't know it because he sent back people to solve the problem later on. It was really well done, in my opinion. I was a huge fan of it. and you have to. Yeah, I said a bad word. I apologize, but because you can't bring up a German leader from a terrible world war. I apologize, but
well, I'm going to actually build on that.
I think that's the least of our worries with this stream.
I'm going to build on that culture because actually, my first ever produced that I wrote by myself credit was on Twilight Zone. Was the first episode of that launched the show, which got all the attention.
Pilot,
Katherine Heigl goes back in time to kill baby Hitler. Right?
Wait, no, was that you?
Cradle of Darkness was me. I wrote that.
Oh man,
what? And it is still one of the greatest episodes of Twilight Zone. And people have written to me over the last 20 years saying this thing matches up to Serling. I'm like, oh yeah, it does. I'm really proud of that. It's a good episode.
But see those are the kinds of stories we should be focusing on talking about, because it took a lot of time to negotiate a lot of problems that we have with time travel, right? And what you would have to do to accomplish certain goals to prevent, I guess, the end of everything in Tenet. I don't know. This is spoilers now, but you know what? None of you watched it, so I don't care. But
what, Tenet?
Tenet, yeah, you went back in time to prevent the end of everything, because that was that guy's ultimate goal, right? And so it was so well done, in my opinion. And again, it's exactly what Cameron's talking about, what he wrote about, which is how do you prevent that person from doing what they did. And
I have to watch that movie again because I couldn't get past the sound situation. It was so bad that I couldn't understand a word they were saying half the movie.
Subtitles on. That's the only way.
Well,
and honestly, I didn't like it because of the exact opposite reason of what you said. Because I was like, wow, I thought the exact opposite.
Wow.
So therefore it never enticed me to go back and watch it. Like I have absolutely, like, I will watch Inception again because I think it's Christopher Nolan's best film, but I will never watch Tenet again because I think
Tenet was here's the thing about Nolan. Consider this, Nina, just before, and I know Cameron wants to fire off here, but can't I believe, because it's not a very secret like thought process, that Nolan's tying all those films together. Could you imagine him tying Tenet together with Inception and just kind of?
Yeah, there's a rumor for that he's gonna do that. I don't like, if he does, it's a huge undertaking. I don't know if he's gonna be able to pull it off because he sure as hell didn't pull off Tenet, because the Tenet was freaking awful.
Oh, you're so wrong. Okay,
no, I'm so right.
I haven't seen Tenet, so
all right. So let's get to the middle ground.
Yeah,
my Twilight Zone episode, right? Which actually resolved the issue, because anybody sees it, she does kill baby Hitler, and the timeline is that's actually what happened. And and Hitler that we know of is the product of the events that happened in the time loop, right? And so she kills and the Hitler that rises isn't the baby that she killed, right? And so she ended up fulfilling the history. And so very proud of that episode. But can I share with you? Can I share with you guys another crazy story?
Yeah. No, real quick.
Yes.
Real quick. Nina, no. Nina and Culture are talking about with Tenet, and Cameron's like, let's get some middle ground. So back to my episode.
Yes, that's correct.
But no, he's right. He's not wrong. He's not wrong, because that's the problem with time travel. Yeah,
that's how Futurama did it too.
Not Twilight.
You can do all these actions, but it won't change what somebody's going to be influenced by the events around them and eventually create the same circumstance. And those are always
tragedy style.
And that was the problem with this movie that we were talking about originally. No, the Tomorrow War one. Because that's not how.
Let's not talk about that again. Cameron, what were you going to say? I'm sorry.
Don't spill it.
All right. So I want to share a story. I just have these crazy, goofy stories, right? So this is an example. So remember I told you how my first job was Twilight Zone after I got sold that, or at least didn't sell my Crusade script, right? And so, but I was a staff writer on the show, and this was on UPN, the predecessor of CW, which had like 0 ratings, right? Nobody watched it, and I was like, we were like the lowest rated.
Wait. CW has ratings, Cameron?
More ratings than UPN does, that's for sure.
Oh, no, I doubt it. They make like 300,000
adjusted for inflation.
At the time, Twilight Zone was the lowest rated show on television. I think we tied with The Birds of Prey that was on the show at that. But we were the lowest rated show on network television, and I was a staff writer. So I was officially the least powerful guy in Hollywood. I was a staff writer, the bottom guy on the lowest rated show in network television, right? But we did the show. The thing was this Hitler episode, right? So this is my thing of how God gives me these ridiculous moments. So Twilight Zone, the rights to Twilight Zone ended up in the hands of New Line Cinema, the guys from Lord of the Rings. And New Line Cinema didn't do television. But when they wanted to make Twilight Zone again, CBS made a deal. CBS, which owned UPN,
They did
made
do
a
one
deal.
show.
Yeah,
and
they
one
made a
show
deal.
only.
Yeah, they made a deal with New Line, and New Line essentially created a television division for this show, right? So with executives that had never really worked in television were suddenly harder. So they were our studio. Now the thing was this: so Bob Shea, who was the head of New Line Cinema, the guy who greenlit Lord of the Rings, right? One of the most powerful guys in town. So Bob Shea was very excited about this, and when we decided to do this this thing about Hitler, it was actually going to be the premiere episode, and I wrote the script. None of you remember, but at the time, Les Moonves was running CBS.
Yeah,
and at that fall in 2002, I think it was, that fall, Les Moonves got into a lot of hot water because he greenlit a CBS miniseries about the life of young Hitler when he was an artist and a soldier, right? Yeah, they actually made him before the Holocaust, before he becomes.
What?
So this was a miniseries about young Hitler. It's like, why are we doing this, right? But they did it, right? And so you can imagine seeing culture's reaction. It got a lot of media controversy. Why are you doing a miniseries about Hitler before he kills millions of people? About what a great painter he was. I mean, why are we doing this, right? But whatever, they did it. And so because he was getting so much press at the time on CBS about why are you even doing this? And suddenly this UPN show is about to launch with this show about Hitler. Suddenly the press was all over it. They're like, "Oh, you're doing a show, but what's your obsession with Hitler, Les Moonves?" And so suddenly, I'm the staff writer. I've just been given this episode, and I've handed it in. Then Ira Stephen Bear, who was our boss, who was the creator of Deep Space Nine, best showrunner I've ever worked with.
Amazing guy,
amazing human being, amazing showrunner. So I come into the office after handing the script. Like next day I come in, and Ira's like, "Come into the office." I'm like, "Oh, am I in trouble? What's happening?" So Ira's like, So Les Moonves was on the call with you. So remember, we're this pissant little show. That's the least important thing in CBS's media hierarchy. And Les Moonves called because now Les Moonves is getting all this bad press about doing this miniseries on CBS about Hitler. So he's like, "I want to read the script." So he said, "We're sending your script directly to Les Moonves." I'm a staff writer with no credits, right? Okay. So, and Les Moonves is one of the most powerful people in Hollywood. He's like, so he sends a script, and then he's like, a few hours later, so Les Moonves is concerned. He has notes that there's errors in your script. And I was like, "What do you mean there's errors in my script?" He's like, "Well, the miniseries that they're doing has this, it talks about the Hitler children, and it says there's 2 other brothers and sisters to young Adolf. There are actually 4. And so the screenwriters of that miniseries had made a lot of factual mistakes. They had not bothered to do basic research that I had done for this Twilight Zone as to who the family was. And so Les was just going off the script he read for the miniseries. So he sent me back this note saying, "Hey, man, what are you doing getting this wrong?" So I'm getting this note from Les Moonves. And Ira's like, "I want to see your research right now." Right?
Oh.
I was about to be fired. I was about to be fired because I pissed off the head of CBS.
Wow.
And so I bring out all my research books on Hitler's life. I had 5 of them for the episode. And I find a page. I was like, "These are the 4 or 5 children, whatever. Alois Hitler's the father. And these are the kids. And this and this and this." And he's like, and Ira's reading it, goes, "Oh, fuck. This whole fucking movie that they're doing has all these errors in it. We're getting it right on a Twilight Zone, and I've got to tell Les Moonves that he didn't fucking do his research on his movie that's getting him all this shit, right?"
Wow.
So and then and he's like, "Les Moonves is gonna blow his top." I'm like, "Fuck." And then the next thing is, then an hour later, I was coming to my office. I'm like, "Oh shit, what now?" He's like, "So, okay, Les has accepted when I faxed him the pages, and he's having a talk with the screenwriters. Now, all the anger is being put on the screenwriters and that other thing, right? So you're safe. Your job is safe. We have a new problem. Bob Shea, the head of New Line Cinema, heard that Les Moonves is giving notes. So Bob Shea wants to read your script."
Oh my God.
Suddenly, my script is being sent to the head of New Line Cinema. And I'm like, and I was like, "Do you have any idea? They've never read my stuff." Les Moonves has never read a script of mine. I don't know that Bob Shea knows who I am. And they're all reading your script and giving you notes, the head of the studio. I'm like, "Yeah, do I still have a job?" He's like, "Well, it depends on what Bob Shea says," right? And so Bob Shea comes back with "Oh, change this, change that, a few minor notes or whatever." And like the whole time, my heart is pounding because I'm a nobody. And the most powerful people in Hollywood are sending me notes. And I was like, who the hell are you, kid? Why is this kind of stuff happening to you? I'm like, I don't know, boss. And that was the beginning of the next 20 years of crazy things happening.
Jesus, Cameron, all these stories, they're always like, yeah, and then I have like the president of CBS read my script. It's like, wait, why aren't you like the primo writer in Hollywood again?
That's a good question, Willie.
That makes no
Thank
sense.
you for saying I'm not a primo writer. Thank you so much, Billy. It touched me so deeply.
Well,
Wow.
I mean, dude, you're reading my script, man. I mean, come on, I can't be that.
Hopefully, I'll be reading your script after the Oscar as well. I don't want to be that.
Dude,
whatever. I share these stories because this town is crazy. This town is crazy.
I see.
So, Cameron, I got a question, brother.
I have something after that one. Mike, go first.
Oh, okay, so Cameron, I'm just listening intently. I'm actually taking notes here. I mean, you are teaching me something. Not that I ever want to be in Hollywood. I mean, how do you maintain your sanity, brother? I mean, seriously, these are just three. Just any one of these stories to me would be cataclysmic, like up or down and back up. I mean, seriously, like. Is it like the love for being a creative is that strong?
Well, it's because I'm stuck. Like I mean, that's all I'm.
I mean, you've done well. I mean, for Jesus, I mean, it seems like just by sheer will and fight, you've managed to carve out a career and stuff. And you're great, man. I love this book. I cannot tell you. Like, I could probably write a 5-page review of this thing, and I'm not even done yet.
But look, this is, and I know there's people in the chat, and then there's probably people in the panel, that have a passion and a desire to be professional screenwriters. Look, you can only do it with passion and desire. I mean, this is the only reason I've survived 20 years. I mean, I have hundreds of these stories, and for whatever reason, they're always with famous people. I've crossed paths with Ang Lee, with Sam Raimi, and all these other people, and people like my enemies on Twitter. I was like, this guy's a nobody. He's done nothing. I was like, man, you don't know the stories, man. You have no idea my misadventures with very famous people. The time that I met Steven Spielberg in his mom's restaurant. You don't know any of those misadventures because none of it got to the screen, right? And so all you can do is persist, which is what I'm doing, because God keeps throwing me in the middle of all of these incredibly famous people. And like, I come out of it like, oh, nothing came out of that except a great story, right? and you just keep persisting because I love the work. And at this point, look, I'm almost 50 years old. I've been doing this for 20 years. There's nothing else I'm going to do. I mean, and every time I want to quit this job, every time I'm like, I'm done, right? I'll get a phone call, magical phone call. Literally, I'm like, it's time for me to think. Maybe I should go become a professor. Maybe I should go do something else. Like like, hey, you just got this new gig. Literally, every time I want to give up, God sends me something new. So he's like, you got to keep walking down this road. And I am glad that I didn't become J.J. Abrams early on, even though I kept being thrown into like my first script goes out with Imagine and Lars Iskin, and then suddenly I've got Les Moonves and all these people fighting over my script, right? I'm glad of that journey because I would have been what we criticize of the people who feel have misrepresented.
You kept your integrity.
Because I didn't have a choice, right? Because I wasn't being allowed to sell out. It wasn't it's like almost like God is protecting me. Like every time the opportunity to sell out comes, it's taken away from my hands. It's like, you could be very famous right now, but you're going to lose your soul. So I'm going to take this away from you. And that's happened at least 15 or 20 times. I mean, the lists of famous people whose lives I've crossed with. I've worked with Oliver Stone. That's not on IMDb. I developed a TV show with Oliver Stone. I worked with him, on Showtime. Wow. It never got made. Because why? Because our show was being produced by Harvey Weinstein. And our show at Showtime and Harvey Weinstein went down in the middle of our scripts, and we knew that we were over. That's not on IMDb. No one's ever heard of that. I worked with Oliver Stone for months, and directly. And it's, and God's like, maybe Harvey Weinstein's not good for you, so I'm going to make sure that show never happens. I had a project with Kevin Spacey, right? Before all this happened, and it fell apart. And I was like, God, what's going on here? I'm talking to Kevin Spacey. I'm doing this huge thing with him. We're going to do a Thief of Baghdad remake, right? And it fell apart. And then a year later, Mr. Spacey goes through his process, and everyone discovers what he's all about. So it's like, God's like, yeah, that guy's not going to be good for your long-term career. So I keep being sent these people. Les Moonves has had a downfall, right? So had I become Les Moonves's pet after that incident, right? And he had nurtured me, I would have gone down with him, just like everybody that Les Moonves brought up went down with him.
Yeah,
that's my journey. I'm surviving this because it's like this conversation I have with God, which is God says to me, I'm protecting you from all the bad people in Hollywood. I'm like, but God, that's all of them. That's all of them. So he's like, yeah, well, that's kind of what it is, right? And that's the journey you go through.
Yeah.
Well, brother. All right. Sorry, Andre. I'm sorry to get in front of you, but go ahead, brother.
Yeah, no,
This
absolutely.
is
It was
useful
like
to the
more
chat because this is
more
real life
cultural anyway.
stuff of an artist, right? And I think that's why
Before Andre pipes in here, Culture has to.
Yeah, I'm gonna dip out. I want to say thank you.
Did anybody else have to dip out with him, or?
I do as well.
Oh,
yeah. I just Cameron, I'm going to reach out. I have your contact information outside.
I'd love to come on and do more stuff with you.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it. And I had a great time. And Tom, thanks for doing this tonight, man. You rock. And Andre, it was great to see you at my version of Late at Night. So anyway, everybody else here,
Culture,
I
even
love
though
you.
all I gotten done is yelled at, but no.
It's always a pleasure to be on stream with you guys.
I'll see you later. I love you all. Peace.
Bye.
God bless, guys.
I can hang around. I can hang out for a little bit because I got to get up at 6 for work. So
holy shit, dude!
Oh no,
dude.
What time zone you in?
I'm in California, so I'm in the same.
It's like almost
time
1
zone
a.m.,
as
buddy. So you should be heading out.
You gotta go to bed, dude.
No, fuck. I know. I'm having fun. I'm having more fun than like pushing carts at work. So I want to stay around a little bit more.
But
a little bit more.
Valiant, you said you were gonna have to check out too, buddy.
Yeah, I do. It's hard to have too much conversation at 3 a.m. at my house because I'll wake everybody up.
No problem, man.
So,
well, thank you for being here,
bro.
very
well.
Can we get a little bit of that DJ voice before you go and talk about what an amazing guy you are and what an amazing new YouTuber you are at ValiantRenegade.com?
Okay, well, you just did it for me, so I'll just let Mike take that one. No, but thanks for having me on, guys. And ladies, it's a pleasure to see you as always, and hopefully we'll get to do this again soon.
Good night.
Take care.
Good night, semi-clone.
All right. Anybody else have to check out?
I'm good.
Do you remember your question, Andre? In case so I can go through.
Well, actually, it wasn't so much a question as it was more a comment on commending you for the research, because I know exactly why Les Moonves and his company hadn't done the proper research that you did. That they thought that there was just like two of the like Hitler, he
The
just
Hitler
had like
family had
one
only like
sibling.
3 children or whatever. Yeah.
And it's like from that you have like those who are his known family and descendants today. And today they're really old, and they all decided that we are not going to, like, they live in America or something, or England, something, I don't know.
He has
Anyway,
three great nephews that live in America.
Exactly, and they were the ones that then decided that we are not going to have any children so that we can end this horrible, horrible bloodline. What they evidently don't know is that he had more siblings, and those siblings, they have a ton of kids. Yeah. So if you go back to like Austria today, you have, I don't know, 20 descendants, direct descendants of the other cousins running around there today.
Yeah.
So those 3 people did that sacrifice, kind for nothing.
Well, that's, I mean, I know the story you're talking about. I know about those 3 people. So, but you're right. That's the level of sort of superficial research that these screenwriters, who were more famous than me, who were obviously paid a huge amount of money to do this miniseries for CBS, right? They just did a quick superficial thing, right? And I was like, I'm this low-paid nobody on UPN show, and I went through like 5 books to make sure I got it right. So, yeah.
Yeah, and they didn't get that.
Yeah.
And then before, and I'm sorry for this, took so long to get to these last couple super chats here. GEC812 says, hopefully you're still here. Love it and feel it was not a propaganda movie. Panelists reading what is not there. Great action sci-fi flick with heart. Favorite part was storyline weaving relationships between Dan Forster's daughter and his father. Yeah, and I think that's obviously to the Chris Pratt film, and I've heard both positive and some now negative, but I'm definitely going to check it out. And then Julio Scissors also had Prison Shower Hour needs to happen on your channel.
Yes.
I mean, that's quite brilliant, but no.
We'll have to get Jean-Claude on the phone.
Who can pull it off? who can pull it off? Paulie from Latino Slant. He can get anybody. He can.
He can, dude. I don't know how he does half that shit. I thought I was.
You were pulling in there.
I thought I was something pulling in, Nicholas Meyer and Robert Schaefer in an interview, and here Paulie just.
And I just talked to Paulie before he took off for vacation. Ooh, we are planning something juicy, Tom and Andre.
I think I know what you're talking about, unless it's something completely different.
Oh, you might know him because he told me he was going to call you and tell you before. He was going to hit you up on Thursday, Friday.
I'm going to be on the Sofia Vergara episode. I'm just going to be whatever that is.
Yeah.
Wait, there's a Sofia Vergara episode? Please tell me this.
Dude,
Inshallah.
If you get Salma
Inshallah.
Hayek, if you get Salma Hayek, Mike, I'm definitely going to be there, and I'll just creep in the shadows on mute. I'll just let me on a pen. I'll be like,
Shakira's
I don't know if that's
supposed
it,
to be
but,
really down to earth. You should get Shakira. She's like,
dude, Shakira's so fine.
Classes in
don't
LA,
lie.
and nobody knew it was Shakira.
Hell yeah.
Okay. One show at a time, everybody. One show at a time.
Vigilante Williamson, who's on the panel, says, "Any tips for writing better? I suck."
I can't write.
Vigilante, what you and I got to do a stream together. I'm happy to talk about the screenwriting process, storytelling process. Would you like to do a special screen on your show? Whenever. I'd be lovely.
Yes. I need to ask you for my show because I don't know Fireball. So
Yeah, what I'm doing is
we have a show on Wednesday.
I'm going to put my email right now, and Nina, Christy, Nina, both of you. I don't know that I'm following either of you guys on Facebook. So I don't even know if you have it, but I'm gonna put my email in there because now I don't have Twitter anymore, and I'd love to be on your channels again. So just drop me an email, guys.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit, I haven't
definitely.
done anything on my channel. Like,
Awesome.
fucking
Thanks.
mind.
I'm not on Facebook, but I'll definitely email
Christy,
you. I have it from before.
This is the laziest YouTuber I've ever met. No, I'm just kidding.
I know, and
Got
I
it.
still
Thank you,
got
man.
more fucking subs than a Sporting News podcast.
Oh my
And
god.
And then Valiant Renegade, I'm sure I don't know if he's still listening or not, but he said, "Always enjoy the friends and great stories. Thanks for having me." Thank you so much, Valiant Renegade, for that super chat. And that catches us up so far on the super chats. So I don't know if Cameron had any more stories.
No, but I'm actually going to wind down. It's like
I was
1
going to say, I think
a.m.
everybody's going to be probably winding down here anyway. We're actually getting to the top of the hour anyhow.
And I know Willie's not going to leave as long as I'm around because he's a
I
loyal
doubt it. He needs to go back.
Save it for my
I
show.
want to hear the good stories. That's all. I just
Oh,
want
I'm sure there's plenty more to be had.
Man, I got to tell you, next time I'm on, I'll tell you the heartbreaking story of how I had Ang Lee interested in directing my Moorish Spain pilot. And then, then I got the amazing call one day. Ang Lee read your script in overnight, loves it, wants to do it. He's always wanted to do something on the Moors. He feels like it's his destiny to do it. And then a month later, I got a call saying, yeah, his agents convinced him this is not a good idea for his career to be doing a project about Muslim good guys or whatever. And out he went. And so I got lots of stories, man. Some of them are funny, some of them are heartbreaking like that. So.
All I know is this. I actually like the Bionic. I think I know when you left the Bionic Woman. I think it's right around the episodes where I couldn't watch it anymore. And I got to go back and see it because I love the beginning of the Bionic
I got
Woman.
so many stories about
I love that episode. I love that show when it cooked out. The first few episodes were just awesome. And then somewhere it just took a right turn and then it just.
I will tell you briefly what happened, which is our showrunner, was fired after the first episode premiered. And they didn't like his cut for the second episode. And so they recut the entire second episode within the week before it was filming. Right? And then after that, it started falling apart because once you do that, right? And then the show was so chaotic that they essentially took our writer's room out. And they ended up giving the show to the guys from Friday Night Lights. We were all moved to their offices. And we sat around eating donuts and drinking coffee, watching the writers of Friday Night Lights write our show for us. And we were all paid, and we just sat there in the writer's room of another show, watching other people on another show break our stories for us, write the scripts, and we're like, is this actually happening? So yes, the show was completely insane.
Wow.
The moment you saw where it stopped making sense,
yeah,
it was taken out of the Bionic Woman's writer's room and given to another show to write.
And it is so obvious, but I'll tell you, things really. Man. Oh well. Anyways, moving on.
There's no end to these stories. They're all crazy.
Please save some for my show.
My brother, there's no end. I got hundreds of them.
Can I change the subject just a little bit?
Sure.
I just started watching a show called Mythic Quest. Have you guys seen it?
No, what's that about?
Nope.
It's
I've heard of it.
really
Isn't it an
good.
Apple show?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's a show by Charlie Day and the guy, I forget the guy's name right now, but the guy's from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and it's about a bunch of developers, like video game developers, who are developing this video game called Mythic Quest, and it's really funny, and it's got, I mean, it's just a really funny, good, like awesome show. And we talk about a lot of things, like we like or we don't like, so I just wanted to balance out the fact that I didn't
There is good
like
stuff
a lot
out
of
there
stuff.
still.
Yeah, there's good
Cool.
stuff. I really like Mythic Quest. I highly recommend to everybody here. You guys check it
Okay,
out.
I'll have to sail the seas if I look at that one.
I might too, unfortunately.
Well, I have Apple. I actually have never watched anything on Apple, and so I actually paying for it, so I should watch it. So it's on Apple.
Yeah, it's really funny because like, for example, like they're the video game developers, and it really makes fun of like our culture, like our YouTube culture. For example, like there's a YouTuber, like a 14-year-old YouTuber called like Pewdie Shoe or something like that, and like he's got like 14 million followers or something like that, and they're trying to like make this video game and launch it, and they want his like they want him to like be like, oh yeah, I love this video game, and it's like they're all just going like bending backwards to make this
little kid
yeah, like it's like the funny, it's just like the way that they've made fun of like our nerdy culture here is like they really know it, and you can tell that it's very funny. It's very funny. They got Star Wars stuff.
We're all a little crazy, and
exactly. It's just very good. They've got like Star Wars humor. They've got like all sorts of really good nerdy humor, and it's just a good show. It's good fun.
Cool. And Mr. MH became a member. Thank you so much for that.
Yay, new member.
I know him. Hey, what's up?
Yeah. And with that, I think we're gonna wind it down here. Cameron, did you have anything you wanted to say?
No, I would say first of all, I want to thank you guys for being patient.
Sure.
I'm an Aries, and we are very aggressive, and we talk a lot, and so I sometimes tend to come on these live streams and just dominate things with my stupid stories. So thank you for your patience. Just know all of you guys, I know you personally to some degree, and you're my friends right now. I don't really have any friends left in this stupid industry, and so I love being here.
It's probably a good thing.
I'm here is that I feel at home with this community. I don't feel at home in Hollywood. I don't share its philosophy. I've been through 20 years of it's crazy. You guys are good people, and I thank you for your patience with me. I'm so enthusiastic here because this is like a home to me right now.
You should create another Twitter account, but it's like a completely like random name and just be a troll and stuff like that.
And just keep posting your lady pictures.
Yeah, that would be my signature. Beautiful.
That will be missed.
Yeah.
The world lost some.
Ladies will miss that.
Just call yourself Ash Shop Namarak.
That's your name backwards.
That's your name.
Okay, that's Mr. Metzelplitz. Okay.
Your pictures probably won't be
the name.
What was
your
that?
pictures probably won't be as missed by my wife, because when I look up and I'll look and see the pictures of the hot women, my wife's like, "What the hell are you looking at?" And it's like you're a perv.
What were you saying, Andre? The name should be?
No, I was like saying it should be B.S. Pashram in
yeah,
honor
you
of
gotta
that
send
image.
me that meme. You gotta send it to me.
I send
man.
it to you on Facebook.
Or just spell your own name backwards.
That's what I said.
Yeah, like what Tom said.
Narrow.
You'll be happier off Twitter.
Narmac.
I think I will.
I know you will.
A-Shap Narmac. There you go.
No, you remember that South Park episode, the one with the Danish trolls, where you have like Kyle's father, and he's like in front of the dinner with the family. He's talking about these horrible internet trolls and this legendary one that's like driving all of these celebrities nuts and everything. And then he goes into his basement this night and he pours his glass of wine, and he is that troll.
Oh,
that's how he goes.
So this is like a Usual Suspects moment.
Yeah, Cameron, you have to see that.
He is kind of so sad.
Yeah,
it is a great.
It's brilliant. So yeah, exactly. It's like that Usual Suspects moment. It's such a great episode. Great Danish song too. But
It
that's
actually
neither
led
here nor
into a
there.
few episodes. It was kind of a bit of a through line, but
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. I got to wind down. So you guys want to continue?
yeah. So check out Mexican Iron Man. I don't know if you got anything up lately, but I know you have a channel. Check out Christy's channel. She's also not got anything up lately.
I like
but
turtles.
She likes turtles.
I like turtles.
Was there anything you wanted to plug though, Mike or Christy?
No, just Midnight Sage Espanol, Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon, Latino Slant, Wednesdays at 6, California.
Yeah, we have taco pizza. So
That's right. And go watch all the Zorro stuff that we have on Midnight's Edge. We got a ton of good stuff in the videos that Andre and Tom stays all night doing. It's just amazing.
And Willie, you got anything coming up?
No, not really.
Besides sleep, so you can get up in the morning for work.
Dude, I work a lot as a lot attendant, dude. All I have to do is just make sure I don't get run over. Just slam a Red Bull. I'll be fine.
All right, well, hopefully it's not too mad, man.
Oh, yeah.
Vidge, anything coming up?
I'm working
Besides
on a
your
review.
interview with Cameron.
Yeah. Oh yeah. First off, Culture Cry fires every Wednesday. It's either on this week is on my channel. The week after is on Matt's channel, Fireball Productions. And Cameron's already been on Fireball Productions channel. So hopefully, I don't know if you're free this Wednesday, but one of these Wednesdays,
you got my email, so drop me an email and I'll make time for you guys. I just finished up a project, so I'm gonna take a break for a few days. I'm open to doing some fun stuff. So yeah.
Hey, Hey, I'm sorry for interrupting. Tom, I just wanted to say thank you for having me on. It's always fun hanging out with you guys on live stream, and it's nice to actually. I miss some of you guys. Like I miss like trolling Christy, and it's nice to actually hang out with Andre again, and it's nice to actually meet with Mexican Mike and also talk with you, Vigilante Williamson. I love your really cool mask, by the way.
Mexican Mike.
Thank you.
That's me, Mike the Mexican. That's he knows. That's how I'm called. They call me Mike the Mexican.
I had a dyslexic moment. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
We're good.
It's all good.
Mike
It's
is
good.
proud to be Mexican. It's all good.
Yeah.
Last
So,
but not least,
thank you.
yeah, no problem, man. And last but not least, Nina, anything going on?
Yeah, tomorrow at 9 Eastern, I'm going to be breaking down the new episode of Loki on my channel with Script Doctor. We got Jane Theory,
That
Teresa
little shit
Martin.
wasn't awake tonight.
Oh.
Which she
And-
means is like in 15 hours.
Yes, and Sporking News podcast. So we're gonna be hanging out, breaking down the 4th episode of that tragedy that is called Loki. So come and hang out with us. It'll be fun.
That shit's still going on.
Yeah, 2 more episodes, I think.
And
that
Andre,
reminds me, Tom, we still have to do the Spanish version of the Loki
for
song.
fuck's sake. I guess that official version came out and it's no longer than the other one, I guess.
Really? When?
Yeah,
When did that happen?
I guess it's on iTunes because people are bitching in the comments.
There should be 4 verses in the full version.
No, the full version is what we heard in the show. The only difference, I guess, is it's just doesn't have like the background noise or something shit like that. It's
Then
basically
they have
the same
skimmed
length.
out some promise because the original song, I know for a fact, is 4
Unless
verses
they're waiting
long.
for some other version that I have no idea. But yeah, I guess it's out. Yeah. Other than that, do you have any bad news for me? Something coming up I got to worry about?
There's always something. I don't have anything right now in the second, but I'll think
Need
of
I
something.
remind you
I
that
always
today
do.
is a fucking holiday.
Which is why I don't have anything just for you just yet.
I'm kidding, of course.
But so enjoy your holiday because it's going to come to a sudden end.
I'm sure it will.
Can I just say one last thing? I know I'm Canadian, but I love all you American friends out there. So I just wanted to wish you guys all happy 4th of July. And I mean, you guys are freaking awesome. Just keep on, fighting for your freedoms because they're,
Yes.
freedom easily goes away, and then you don't know what you got till it's gone. So hang in there, people.
Yeah, America.
America.
Well,
Fuck yeah.
Happy Fourth,
All right,
everybody
so on
that's
that,
listening.
one day we have to do like a live analysis of Team what is it, Team America? Was it,
Yes.
Yes.
Team America's great.
America. Fuck yeah.
That's as a Muslim guy, that's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. When
Me
I saw it in the
too.
theater, I fell out of my chair in the theater and was rolling around in the aisle. When they had that scene when the puppet was trying to pretend to be a Muslim guy, so they just painted him brown and put little splotches of beard on him. I couldn't. I just was literally rolling down the aisle.
Me too. I mean, I'm not
Watching it do
Muslim, but
something for
because
me.
I'm Persian, I feel you, Comrade. It was freaking hilarious.
Oh, I love that movie. Yeah, I don't know. Is actually my initial idea for this stream was going to be, we'll talk about our favorite 4th of July movies. So everybody's going to end up talking about like Jaws and Independence Day.
Team America, man. All right, guys.
But anyway, yeah, let's wrap this up. I want to thank Cameron for hopping in here and giving us some great stories. And I'm sure Andre will we'll have to clip that one bit out for everybody to put on someplace.
Yeah, I mean, if Van Damme's gonna do it to me, I'm gonna let the world know about it.
Seriously,
and
put
you
the
can,
script
and you
out
can
there.
prove it's true. So then I don't even. Then I'm not.
Yeah,
even
what
worried
definitely? I was like, dude, this happened. This is. I mean, yeah.
I still say you should write it a script and either make it into a series yourself somehow or send it to Larry David. It'll be funny. Maybe he'll even star in it, and that'll be really funny.
Yeah, it'll be great. It'll be great.
All right, so
good night, everybody.
Night.
Yeah, let me.
Good night. Happy 4th of July, America.
This sucks.
Yeah, me.